And I believe we are live. Hello, everybody.
Awesome.
And I
See.
Um,
believe we are
so
live. Hello,
welcome
everybody.
to the VATcast. This is the first episode. It's just
Oops.
generally
So,
going to be
welcome
a
to
live
the.
talk show here where we will talk about various things happening in both the OSU community and within Vocaloid and really whatever else we're passionate about talking about. We'll bring on special guests here and there, like our guest Yaspo, who's here to talk about his resignation from the NAT, and we want to talk about some history of vetoes within OSU. Some of the big ones, some of the messy ones, some of the ones that don't look so great in hindsight, that did not age very well. So we'll have some cool stuff going on there. Few other things to talk about before we get into that. We do have, of course, our Vocaloid mapping contest that the Vocaloid Appreciation Team hosts. The second one is going on right now. We did extend the deadline by 1 week, so if you haven't made your map or you still need to finish it up, definitely don't wait on that. The songs are a little bit longer than they usually would be because our featured artist that we got, Iroha Sasaki, does like to make longer songs, so I can't really control that. um, as you all have probably seen from watching this, we also do have completely new graphics and branding for the Vocaloid Appreciation Team and this Vatcast and all that stuff. So definitely hype up the creator of all these, Cristo. He's definitely done a great job with all of that.
Fucking love Chris.
I definitely appreciate Nixa for recommending him. I would not have known about him otherwise. That was awesome.
I only recommend good things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely was like, if Nix is recommending this guy, he must be really good.
That's what's up. You understand.
I do. So anyway, really happy with all that, and we have some cool stuff with that. Um, of course, we do have other things in the works, as the VAT has other things in the works. Some of those are not released or announced yet. We've done a lot of work within the Discord, so now we actually have um, a Vocaloid news feed. So whenever a Vocaloid map feed. So whenever a Vocaloid map gets ranked, we're going to be posting about it, giving some information about what Vocaloids were featured in that song, and maybe a sentence about like what is that the appeal of this map? What does this map do? That's really cool. To hype up all those different maps that are coming, and we have some plans regarding that to develop that even further. That will come out soon. Um, definitely join the community. Part of that. Otherwise, some general news going on in the OSU community. We have the Soju Cup mapping phase that began last week. I know Nixa is panicking.
Panicking. The word you're looking for is participating.
uh,
We've
um,
been working on stuff.
your message last night does not spark confidence, though. So I'm just saying.
Listen, we don't talk about that.
I
It's
gotcha.
okay. I have it under control. It will all be fine.
I
You
mean, at
have it
least
under
Yaspo's the
control by
responsible
telling
one
me
here.
to do shit.
I mean, I
Exactly.
trust Yaspo to be the responsible one.
You
Yeah,
should.
that's,
Mm-hmm.
huh?
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 Yesterday, actually, the Spring 2024 fan art contest went live. So that's cool. Hopefully, we'll see some cool artwork created for the OSU community.
I'm gonna
It's
enter.
always nice.
It's gonna be so
You're gonna
bad.
enter?
Can't wait.
Okay, we'll have to see. We'll have to highlight
Hey,
Nafi's
I wonder
entry.
who she'll be drawing.
Huh.
Pippi?
Oh, Pippi? I thought. Oh, wait. Do you only have to? Can you only draw OS mascots
It should.
for
They,
that?
they should be the focus.
Ah, I see.
And the theme they chose is like spring garden theme. So like showing flowers, showing gardens, which is really cool. There's a lot of cool ones near me, so I'm gonna try and draw them. I can't
That's sick.
wait to see what other people do.
Mhm.
Yeah, I always
Um,
love getting jump scared by beach anime backgrounds when I boot up the game in summer. So spring is gonna be a good change of pace on that.
I hope so.
is there normally a spring one, or is it usually just summer and I think winter, right?
There's always a spring one. But we
Okay.
get a lot of like pretty cherry petal arts and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I think
recall
it's
that.
like spring, summer, Halloween, and Christmas.
Hmm.
Gotcha. Um, yeah, those usually I'm not super into that stuff. I think I turn it off on the loading screen anyway, so I don't even notice half the time. Uh, yeah,
It's nice. Sometimes people make really sick artworks that you're like,
absolutely.
why are you playing this game? Go do something.
Maybe they are doing something and just playing this on the side,
It is a
True.
very high profile public contest with community voting, so there are quite a few people that just play Osu very infrequently, but they will always enter the contest.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean it's definitely a cool way to get some publicity there. Some people like to just communicate or be a part of the community in however they can, right?
Hmm.
That's good.
Yeah, I think it's never really a contest with the art stuff because you end up looking at all of them anyway, if you care.
Yeah. Well, speaking of people who like to contribute in any possible way they can, we do also have the community contributors of 2023 that came out a week ago, a little bit less than a week ago, 5 days, something like that. And so there was definitely some familiar faces going there. I think, actually, there was a couple first-time elite nominators. Um, And by community contributors, I was specifically talking about the elite nominators, which is interesting that it's titled community contributors, elite nominators.
Yeah, because it was originally all part of one big news post, but what we ran into a couple of years in a row trying to get elite nominators out is we would have all of our stuff done January or February, and then the community contributors themselves would take so much longer that it would end up releasing like March or April or something like that. So it got spun off into its own separate post.
Mhm.
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah, I'm actually not really sure how they determine like the community contributors. I know with the elite nominators, it's like mm, sort of a pseudo point based system, and then there's like personal weighting that's involved there. Um, but I'm not really sure how they determine that, and or even who does.
Oh shit, Akaratu got made Elite Nominator.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
He's been doing this since the dinosaur ages.
It definitely has.
Yeah, Oko likes to come around, be awesome for 2 years, then vanish for 2 years, and then come
Yeah,
back.
that's very him.
It's
He
the
really is
cycle.
like that. I never know where he goes. I think he's planning something. White too
Um,
cute, can't sleep. White, I think they're in love with your profile picture, nomming on the whatever that is.
I
I always
think
think it's
I
Dango,
think it's
but
like uh I don't I knew what it was at one point, but yeah. Um Anyway, but yeah, Fiery Rage got it again. That's awesome. Fuju, I mean Fiery Rage is like just doing everything. He's so
I can't
busy.
believe he's still active. This guy has
He
been,
doesn't stop, man.
yeah, he's been doing tournaments and BNs. The guy does everything.
And he's like the go-to timing guy in the entire BNG, especially because Starcaster's not around anymore. So he's very, very busy.
I remember when Pishy was the go-to timing guy before he started his channel, and at one point he was just like, he just got upset, so he told everybody to just use their ears, which I love.
I mean, it's valid, because, if too many people depend on one guy, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
like, guys, it's not that hard. Just listen to where the drums are. You're
I mean,
welcome.
Pishy's so busy with like FA timing, and I mean, it's not perfect, but he does so many so frequently that it's like, there's gonna be errors.
Does he do all of them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, he's insane.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane.
Yep. So it's like sometimes it's wrong, but like you can't really blame him.
A decade
He's
later,
right
he's still
most
the
of the time.
timing guy. I would hate my
Oh
life.
yeah, I hate timing so much.
Yeah, it's like, well, there is something relaxing about it because you don't need to like think, right? You just need to listen.
Right,
So you don't have
but
to like
it's
come up with something interesting.
super precise.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think with the laser thing, it'll be easier. I haven't
Oh,
really
because you
tried
have
the
the
laser metronome timer
waveform.
thing, but
Oh, that's been a blessing.
yeah, I need to start exploring that because it seems like it'd be really helpful to find an offset.
I've been
Um,
deliberately avoiding the laser editor because I know if I start mapping in it and I like it, I'm not gonna want to go back. And I don't think you can make rankable maps in laser right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can, but it's
no, you
painful.
can.
You
It's
can't upload
painful.
them, so
Yeah, you can't
Yeah,
upload
it
them,
still
but
sounds like it's really ass to do.
well, it's fundamentally the same thing. Once you just you do it and then you export it as stable, and then it's fine. And then you can upload directly from stable, so you can make them in laser. It's totally fine.
Hmm.
Huh.
But it's just like it's backwards. You have to like go and put it into stable in order to upload it, and then if you make any edits, then you're probably putting it back into laser just to upload it back to stable, just to upload it to the band
Yeah,
show.
now I see why Nafi called it painful.
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
I mean, even just like the workflow. I know Nafi has a lot of criticisms regarding like the actual workflow and it's how it's like very unintuitive and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But that's probably a topic for another podcast here.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
just end it with I'll end that point with saying the laser timing editor is absolutely wonderful, and it helps make up for the fact back in like when 2020 when the way post processed audio changed and nobody can set offsets anymore.
Yeah.
Ah,
God
that
bless.
explains a lot. I never knew. Okay, I never knew why that happened. It became so much harder. I just thought I was washed up and couldn't time anymore.
Oh no.
I
And
mean that sentence is probably not incorrect though, Nixa.
Man, fuck you.
I don't remember the exact details, but it's just like how computers and audio software and stuff update over time, and the game had to update for
Right.
it too, and then stuff broke.
Painful. All right, so we were
Um,
gonna talk about vetoes, right?
oh no, we're getting to that. We're getting to that.
That's one of
Oh,
our topics for today.
Yeah, yeah.
I love vetoes.
We're still on the community contributors, because we can't just highlight Fire Rage and then move on, right? Like that's just not fair to the rest of them.
That is true.
So Fuju also got it. I know Fuju's been really active, very big in the news, in like the Twitter and Reddit news, the last year, especially because of his vetoes, obviously. That's a can of worms to open, but he's definitely been very active, with his NAT work. I'm sure Yaspo can speak to that, and so can Nafi. He's been a very reliable NAT in terms of activity. And then, of course, as a modder and nominator doing BN work, he's been very active there.
Yeah, absolutely. And
yeah.
part of why people would talk about him more is because he goes and does what some people are scared to do in a lot of those disqualifications that he's putting out there.
Yeah, I always view it as like him doing the dirty work that nobody else wants to do, but I respect him for it.
It's kind of
Although,
funny that that's not new. Like people getting flack for doing their job essentially in the community.
yeah, I think it comes down to just what is an NAT supposed to be doing, and like what, like just because at the end of the day, a lot of these expectations that are placed on the NAT and the BN are inherently subjective, right? So, like, they're supposed to assess nomination quality and assess the suitability for maps for ranked. Well, what is a suitable map for ranked? And that's up to some degree the interpreter of that, right? And I think some people have disagreed with Fuju regarding it. The way I kind of see it is like he's doing what he thinks is right based on what he's been, based on what his responsibilities are. And if you don't like that, then that's going to be something that needs to change in terms of the actual rules. But you can't really blame him for that.
It's like getting mad at TSA checking your shit at the airport.
Right? Exactly. It's like there. You can debate whether or not it's useful, but like at the end of the day, it's not TSA's fault they're doing it. It's and you have to go to the legislators who are mandating that they do it.
Yeah. Next up, Lucent. Or are we still talking about Fuju?
No, we can move on to Lucent. Lucent has been doing a lot of nomination stuff. Really good nomination history and track record there. And a very, very popular mapper. Like, Lucent's been mapping so many stuff, especially for tournaments, the last year or two. It's, like, actually insane.
And it's really impressive. Like, 105 nominations. This guy's out here doing, like, 2 nominations every week, doing all these maps, and only one of his nominations got disqualified with anything notable, which is crazy.
Right.
That is insane.
Yeah,
That's like Fiery Rage tier activity. Doing stuff for tournaments and still being active as a BN and NAT.
And you were going to say something, Yaspo?
Good. He's just good at things. It's in the genes, I think.
It's the South Korean genes. God dang it. Oh my god. I mean, I do think that there is some maybe truth to that. Like, I know Germans, like their Germans are insane in Osu. Like, you have Lasse, Mordred, Okaratu, Fuju. Like, Germans have such a genetic buff. I swear.
Yeah, it's not surprising it's the German guy that's direct with his DQs, vetoes.
That's very true. I mean, knowing Okaratu, they do not pull punches. They're very direct with what they think.
I remember people used to say that you had to be German to be able to join the QAT.
That's true.
Oh yeah, Mira's also German too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mira is definitely an anomaly in the German group. He's way too nice to be a German.
I honestly thought Mir was American for a very long time.
He acts like an American, I will give you that.
He
Yeah.
also has like no accent.
Yeah, no, but for sure.
I would have seen Locked putting being German as a requirement for joining the QAT.
And the other thing is that he has an American sleep schedule. Like, when I was his mentee, we'd be up at the same time. It's like all the time.
It's because he plays Monster Hunter 24/7. Just nonstop.
I mean, you never know with people on O's. There's so many people that I'll think, oh, you're European, or oh, you're American, because you're up at these times. It's just like, no, I sleep. I wake up at 3 p.m., go to sleep at 10 a.m., and I'm like, what the?
I'm super nocturnal, yeah.
Gamer hours.
If I don't have anything to wake up for in the morning, I'm not waking up anytime reasonable. All right. And then moving on to some people who are new to the group. We have Nexus QI, who's definitely a new figure. He was an NAT for a while. But, solid contributions to the BN. I don't know if anyone has anything. I don't know too much about his history. He's kind of a little bit under the radar, honestly.
Yeah, it always felt that way, under the radar, but he did the job well as an AT, so I'm not surprised to see him here as well.
I'm curious, yes, but I think did you have any vote in like who got Elite Nominator, or was that after you left?
That was after I left for the most part.
Okay.
And I usually don't involve myself too much with it. It's more a case of like, do I know these people? And I just go like, not really. I know what they nominated, but that's it.
Sorry, that was funny to me. Because that is so yaspo. To just go, I don't know any of these people. Fuck this. I'm out.
I mean, I've seen
not
their
gonna
games, but I'm too familiar with Fuju and Lucent to really say like, oh yeah, I give this guy a lead, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
The Obama, putting the medal on Obama meme out there.
Exactly. Just like make myself an elite. Absolutely.
And that's part of why we gotta go buy at the baseline from the mix of the statistics score to start with, because if we just
Yeah, exactly.
nominated people out of nowhere, there would be people that we would overlook that really deserved it, or that didn't deserve it. That would be kind of messy.
Yeah, the response generally is being good, so it seems to be working really well that way.
Mm-hmm.
So
Are
like nobody's
you
complaining too much.
are you involved with picking the elite nominators, Nafi?
I could have been, but I was too lazy.
Very understandable.
Yeah.
I would be too.
It just kind of happened, and then I would look at the chat sometimes. And Naxis would post all the stats, and I'd be like, okay, that looks generally correct.
Yep. You just see the list at the end, and you're like, "Yep, I don't have any problems with this."
Yeah,
Seems about
This
right.
explains why nobody wants to do mentor evals.
You know, it's funny because like I think that like especially like the elite nominators are generally pretty not controversial every year. Like it's just kind of like, yeah, these people, you know, they at least deserve it, right? Like they've clearly contributed, and there's not really much you can argue with in terms of the picks, unlike something like MCA or whatever, where you know there's always some kind of drama.
Well, how about someone like Fuju, who's been like kind of in the public eye for getting flack?
Yeah, I suppose that one is like a little bit more controversial. But I think that like his other contributions in terms of like what he contributes to the NAT in terms of evaluations and that consistent activity, which is like really big. And then also his like nomination history, you know, the amount of maps he nominates, his record of not having really any notable resets. He had one, it says. Um, so, and he says he evaluated nearly all of the disqualifications that happened last year. So he's clearly very active, and you know, even if you don't like or agree with his vetoes, it's not like he's breaking the rules. So
That is true. Yeah. I also think that like people would at least be less likely to complain on the news page because most people that care will probably recognize his work.
Mm-hmm.
right.
So next up,
We're definitely getting close to the end here. We got Necromanic. I think we haven't talked about him yet. He's been here in the BN for 3 years, but always been super under the radar. Like, I don't really, he never really stood out to me as somebody who does crazy things, but he has a pretty solid track history of like high quality maps he's pushing into the ranked section. Lots of like pseudo Russian type stuff, like simple aim, like nothing crazy, but also nothing offensive or you know that sort of thing. And big nomination history, 109 nominations in 2023. That's quite high. That's definitely up there. So
sick.
And it's been really cool to just over the years see how Necro went from just like starting out as BN to like really regularly, steadily improving and always stepping up. So that's really awesome too, just in the longer term.
yeah, I mean, I think that he takes it very seriously. He's never given me as somebody who's like, yeah, I'm just doing it just for like because I can or whatever. Like he actually seems to care about you know what he pushes into the rank section, you know the quality of his nominations, and that's shown in his 0 reset history. I will say that this has resets because it's not disqualifications. Because I was on a necromantic. I nominated a set with necromantic that did get DQ'd, so I know that's not 0 DQs, but it's still really good.
And in terms of Oko, you guys kind of jumped ahead earlier. He's at the end of the list, but he was on the top of your mind.
Yeah.
Oko is just so great, we can't leave him alone.
I've just known Oko for so long. My very first modding queue was with Oko. And I remember he was like the funniest motherfucker because we were doing like
He's
with a
so
group.
funny.
He is so funny. I had his laugh, just the way he laughs, as my fail sound in OS for like 3 years.
What the
It was
fuck?
amazing. Yeah, he went to COE and he had this
No
one
way.
laugh where he like choked at the end and then goes like "fuck," and it was amazing.
Oh man,
I wish I still had it. It was so good.
damn. But yeah, I mean, Oko just kind of like helps out in like so many different little ways that are kind of meaningful. Like he was always very big with like the ranking criteria, and it seems like he's still active in rewriting it, whatever that really means. I don't really know what's going on with that, but Oko's always like, me and Oko are gonna nominate a map, and he's like, yeah, we're working on like changing the ranking criteria metadata rules so that like this would be changing, and I'm like, well, is that what the ranking criteria says now? And he's like, no. I was like, so what are we gonna do? Are we gonna nominate it, or are we gonna wait till the ranking criteria changes? And I didn't really get an answer.
Yeah, that sounds so like. It's like, yeah,
Like,
whatever.
like there's a problem with the current ranking criteria. It's like, okay, well, what do you want to do? I don't know. Like,
Oko's like always gonna be a teacher to me because when I just uploaded my first full set, like late 2014, it was either late 2014 or early 2015. I was really struggling to get mods, as a new mapper does. And he sat down with me and he raked my map over the coals in IRC and on the
Got it.
modding page.
Awesome.
So it was like 3 pages worth, okay? And I had to save it to like a Word document, and like I spent a week going through and remapping my whole ass map, and he was like, "You didn't need to do that," and I'm like, "Yes, I did."
You didn't need to do that.
And then
After
he
like
made
a
me pick
3-page mod.
I mean, Okaratu feedback is very funny. I just remember like when I was his mentee, I showed him a map, and really the only thing he cares about as like a mapper and a player is how fun your map is to him personally. So I remember having this like super giga hard like diff spike, and he's like, "This pattern is super fun." And everyone else I asked, like Mir and everyone else, is like, "This is such a huge difficulty spike. That's like really uncalled for." And like, I don't know, Okaratu said it was fun.
That's when you buff the
Yeah.
rest of the map.
Right.
I always had arguments with him about that stuff. Well, not really. You can't really argue with him because he's just like, yeah, whatever. But we would always talk about how like I always see things in terms of um, like sort of rules or like guidelines, and he's just like, yeah, whatever. I just map what's fun. I just map what's fun
Yeah.
to play to me. How I judge a map is, do I like to play it? If I don't, it's shit.
Right. That's definitely Okaratu for sure.
And finally,
But-
he gets elite nominator. Well deserved. It's been a while.
yeah, and he's been a BN for forever.
Yeah,
So-
7 years.
He's been a BN. He's been a cat. He's been a he's been a GMT forever now. He organized the UPK RC for the most part. He's doing the new one again now. It's a lot.
Oh, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but learning how to mod from Okaratu, the way he provides feedback to his mentees' mods is he will reply directly to the mod on the modding thread and just flame the mod. He's like, "What are you talking about? Like, this is dumb." It's like right in front of the mapper, just flames it.
That is the most German thing anyone can do.
That's the most
It's so
Oka
good.
thing everyone can do, really.
Honestly, I've
True.
kind of adopted it because I think it's so funny, and it's useful for the mapper too. So
I felt the need to
Yeah,
do
just
that
roast
once
them.
before when my mentees would ask me for modding help, even though they were my mapping mentees, because I would be in the voice chat and I would try to tell them about all these modding things, but they just wouldn't get it until I told them on the thread when they did it wrong.
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
embarrass somebody, suddenly they listen.
Crazy. It wasn't my goal though.
I think a big thing is like, if you think that the mod is like somewhat wrong, I will oftentimes reply directly to the mod so that the mapper can have something like a little bit of reinforcement, like, "Hey, I think that this is actually not a terrible thing what you've done." Like, don't let people tell you off, you know. But anyway, there of course were elite nominators for other modes. None of us here are familiar with other modes, so good job everyone, and we'll just move on.
Yeah, I was wondering. I saw so many names, and I didn't at first see that they were for multiple modes, and I was just like, "What? How many BNs are there now that we're giving like 800 of them elite nominator?"
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean standard has like 70 usually at a time. I want to say.
Yeah, it's like something somewhere around there. Depends on where a good cutoff is. Like, it would be lame to leave off someone just because they about tied or were just very slightly less impressive
Behind,
than
yeah.
someone else somehow. But the other modes is like 3 or 4-ish. But they are all really, really solid nominators. And Mania has been growing a lot too, so you can see that. They have...
I mean, for a while, Mania
this year.
outpaced Standard in nominators. I don't know if that's accurate anymore, but
Mm-hmm.
it was like wild.
balanced.
Everyone would be like, "Oh my god, the BN is dying!" Like Mania has more nominators than Standard.
I wish Grommed was still a nominator. He would make the best DQs.
Oh no.
He'll just say like his mods will just be like he'll link a timestamp and go, "What are you doing?" And that's like the whole mod. I love it.
Did he veto anything like that?
I think he quit before vetoes were really a thing because it used to be that like you had the BAT and QAT and only the QAT could like veto.
Gotcha.
I think it's still sort of the same now. Can you veto as a BN?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you couldn't do that before. So
All right. So I guess the last major piece of news that happened, and we'll kind of hurry it up because they're taking a little longer, but was the Mapper Choice Awards, MCA 2023 came out. Some cool maps got, cool awards. I think it's a little bit unusual. I think only the winners this time got a badge. Usually I think it was like all at the top 3 got a badge. Could be wrong. For each mode.
Yeah, last year was too many bad badges. I heard that we just weren't allowed to give that many badges again.
There was a lot of badges out last year, so I don't think it's a bad thing, but yeah. Obviously we have the Grand Award Jikan Watsugu. I think that this one came out like really at the beginning of the year, and to me it was like I don't know if anything can cap this. Voxnola is just like insane at mapping, and like the storyboard is insane. The energy that like the way the map pairs to the song is just really awesome. I was really surprised that there was like even competition, honestly, for that first place spot.
Mm-hmm. And it's always a lot of fun kind of seeing all the different results for Mapper's Choice Awards and just kind of remembering all the different things that came out during the year. I'm really impressed that it's kept going for this long. I do wish they would go back and retroactively add more badges for previous years. Maybe
Nafi
I'm a
wants
little
everyone
bitter
to
for
have a
the
badge.
years I won storyboard stuff and I don't have anything to show for it.
Yeah, that
no, that
sucks.
does suck.
I mean, at the same time, like the MCA has definitely grown over the years, and become like, somewhat
it's like
seen
a
as
thing
like
now.
it's been somewhat seen as like this is like the culmination, and this is like the de facto list of what is the top of that year. As we saw with like the best modder and nominations and stuff like that.
It started out as a thread that Handsome made. 'Cause
Right,
he was
yeah.
upset with the results of the community vote.
I think that some of the results are always a little bit silly, but usually I think that the grand awards are always usually pretty solid, especially in like the user categories. Even if the same people win every time, it's like, I mean, like Pishy's gonna win pretty much every time, but like, he also does Pishy things, so he definitely deserves it. Obviously, he didn't win this
Kinda
time because Lucent popped off
amazing.
this year.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing that he can still rank so highly, even though he's doing all this other stuff. Like he's doing the videos for the OS channel, and the timing for the FA maps and stuff like that.
Most of the licensing for them too, like all the outreach to the different artists and getting all those like signings and everything set up, so much.
Yeah,
it's
Pishy's hat worked
insane.
really hard with the VMC getting Iro Sasaki on board. That was really nice that he was able to help with that.
He's here too.
Yeah, he's in the chat.
Oh
Hi,
my goodness,
Pishy.
hi Pishy.
Hi.
What's up, Pishy?
So, And then he does the timing. He does all the FA announcements. Yeah, he does a lot. Pretty awesome. Lucen obviously popped off this year. We already talked about Lucen in the last segment. And then Wafer is like a new person. Like he just shows up here and he's like never really been big in Mapper Choice Award. He also won. I think he placed really highly in another category. But like Wafer's been popping off with the amount of nominations and like the contribution. I don't remember which he won. I think he won a map category or like was high on a map category. But Wafer's been doing a lot of contribution.
Waver's been trying for a while. I remember when he was trying to get BN, and he consistently got like denied, but he just kept going, and eventually he got it, which is pretty sick.
Yeah,
So to see
Wafer
him this high
matured a
up in the
lot.
list is really cool.
Wafer definitely matured a lot, which is awesome.
And it's
He's,
always
like,
just
super
so much fun, even just to talk to him. Like, you get a little carried away sometimes. He's just a really funny guy.
Yeah,
for sure.
Super fun. He likes to step on landmines. So if you ever play Lethal Company with him, do not go anywhere near landmines with him. He will kill you. I have much evidence on my Twitter regarding that. Oh my goodness. I just remember like walking down a hallway and be like, I was like, wait for there's a mine next to us. Like, make sure you walk around it. And then I just walk past it. And then I hear a click behind me and boom. I'm like, what the fuck?
It makes for the best moments.
Yeah.
It really does. Oh my god. Yeah, I think everyone did a good job. Obviously, there's a little bit of drama with some categories in the MCA.
When isn't there?
Right. Like, there was one in Best Vanilla was the biggest drama because I could be wrong. I don't really want to put words in people's mouths, but basically the mapper admitted to rigging the votes and like asking all of his friends to nominate him. And then came out and it basically admitted it. So now that top winner is not there anymore. And now Pawnbot won, which Pawnbot's been popping off the last couple of years, so.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, and that all had to get fixed before the badges were all set up and everything too.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Sounds like a thing.
I don't even think that it was going to get removed until the mapper was like, yeah, you can remove it. Like, the mapper just asked Hy-Vee to remove it from the listing. Otherwise, I don't think it would get removed. But anyways, a little bit of news there. We will now move on. MCA, good job, everyone. So moving on. Obviously, our special guest here is Yaspo. Yaspo, you resigned recently from the NAT after 4 years of service.
Yep.
How did that come to happen?
It's been a very long process of me planning to resign and eventually not deciding to resign because I didn't like the way I would be resigning. So that way I stayed around for like 4 years, I guess. But eventually it's like I just decided to make more time for myself in a sense because every time I tried to like pursue another hobby or anything, I would like feel this rubber band of the gnats pulling me back with their devious pings every day.
And you let yourself stay in internal so that you could get devious pings constantly some more?
Well, those pings are generally fine, actually.
Okay.
Just like, as long as like it's not some kind of crazy period where everything is happening at the same time and there's 20 threads, and it's just like, oh my god. And besides, like some threads I can physically not participate in anymore because I don't have access to the website or the threads or whatever. So it's all good. As long as I can Gunga chat a bit in the internal channels, it's fine.
Gunga chatting?
I mean, yeah.
I'd love to see it.
Just gotta spam the Yaspin emote.
So true. I should do that more. I should become the new Nevo.
I like writing words with that emote. It's just, there's something cathartic about it.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else knows this story, but like Nevo, I remember telling me about it, where when he got kicked from BN one time, everyone petitioned the NAT to let him back in the BN server. Because at the time, when you got kicked from BN, you also get removed from the BN server, and everyone wanted him to come back because he was like the pet blob.
Right.
That's so cute. Everybody missed him. They were just like, all right, you can let him go, but he stays.
Yeah, it kind of changed something in that regard, really. It's like you do get ripped out of your community once you get removed, and I think that's sad. So I'm glad that's different nowadays.
Yeah, it's
Can
definitely
you
nice
like
that.
stay as a spectator type role?
Yeah, yep. You can stay as a former BN in the BN server nowadays, which is nice. Um, you
That's good.
makes it
Don't want
easier
to
to
do
stay in
without Nevo.
contact.
And I think how sad everybody was for Nevo's removal was part of why that eventually happened, because it introduced that concept to your minds, you know? 'Cause
Yeah.
we were all collectively sad about it.
Very
So
understandable.
regarding your resignation, Yaspo, well, first, like, can you give us a little bit of a timeline, like how you even became an NAT, and what has kept you going all these years?
I don't remember the year I even started, but I was like, of course, a BN before, and at that time, like the mock evals you can do as a BN started to be a thing, and I participated in them, and it seems like I did really good at them. Uh, from BN, the Nat suddenly contacted me and were like, "Hey, want to be an NAT?" And at first I was like, "Oh no, you're gonna kick me right now," with like 3 people in the Discord chat because they invited me to a group chat and I was like, "Huh, what is this?" It was super panicky because I thought they were gonna kick me, and then eventually, yeah, they just thought I was good at modding. Yeah, modding mods, I guess. It's like even Naxus in his evaluation of me wrote like, "Damn, he's really on point with those evolves. What the hell?" I was like, "Okay, then I guess I'm good at this," and I started being that. Um, then all years kind of fly by, I guess. Like, there's not much to say otherwise, other than like I stayed NAT for a long time in terms of. I mean,
Honestly, you were pretty like under the radar. Like I can't think of any time that you really had any drama associated with your tenure. You were just kind of always there, and you were always just doing your job as an NAT, and you never really went out of your way to cause any drama, which is kind of insane.
I think like the most of them, my dramas happened during like the BN time, especially because I've vetoed the Sotark set, the just a dice set,
Oh no.
We'll
and
I
get to
remember
that.
that. That was great.
um, but yeah, otherwise I think I was just like, in terms of drama, I was just very talkative, more talkative than most of the NAT. I think it's like if you think about it, most of them aren't really public figures and haven't been for a long time. So I kind of like discussing on Twitter, so I did that.
How'd that pay off?
Um, Debatable. Sometimes it went well, and sometimes it didn't go so well, and you get like in a heated debate, and you're suddenly the enemy of the other person. It's like, okay, well, that's part of the job, I guess. Um,
Yep, I know
Yeah,
how
I
that
can see
feels.
that being annoying. I remember when they made like a bot that essentially did DQs for the QAT at the time, so that it wouldn't be like one person's face who has to get all the flack, because that was kind of becoming a problem.
yeah, it's very easy to get vilified when you're in the role of authority to some degree, and that's why a lot of the actual authority of the entity has been reduced to bits, so that we just deal with the nominators indirectly rather than go DQ some maps and cause a stir all the time.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
still can't get over how, uh, like Yaspo's answer, because White was like, "How was your time as NAT?" And Yaspo was like, "I was NAT for a very long time."
I mean, I think the how and like the timeline are different things. I think that's why I said that.
Yeah, that's fair. I can't
But-
imagine that time just kind of flies by. You don't even know what happened for the half of it.
no, very much
Wake
do
up in a drunken
happening.
stupor.
No, I think in one word, like being NIT is a roller coaster. Basically, sometimes there's a very calm bits, and sometimes there's the bits with all the twists and turns, and sometimes you get thrown by a looping by Peppy, and it's all crazy, and then goes back to the calm builds bit to the build up to the calm before the storm, and it
He
kind
went
of goes
back to the calm, bro.
forever.
Yeah, that's sick. It does sound fun though, but I can also understand why you would eventually want more time for yourself, so you can finish that fucking Totodile model you've been working on since forever.
What
That's
model?
Hell
I
yeah!
was a bit into 3D modeling, and I'm still very
What?
interested into it. It's just like getting started and actually like dedicating the time is difficult if I can't just lock in.
Right.
And if you're NAT all the time, you're not locking in, right?
Yeah, the NAT definitely requires a bit of time contribution, a bit of a time sink.
Getting
Yeah.
started is always the hard part with like everything. It's like that first step.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what were in your opinions, what were your like favorite and least favorite parts of being an NAT?
I think the favorite parts are really general, as in like I always liked having reliable team members. It's like it's very hard to recall for myself like if there was ever any AT that was bad or that I disliked. Like every NAT I ever worked with was very reliable and trustable. And next to that, like I also just liked doing what I did with the vaults because I was good at them and I found value in maintaining the system. I think that's also part of the reason why it stayed so long. Because if you think about the period before the NAT, it was very turbulent. There was like an overhaul every year or every 2 years, and I found that like maintaining like stability was a lot better for BNs at the time, so they could find their footing and actually enjoy the system and enjoy contributing rather than being thrown through the roller coaster, basically. In
Yeah,
terms
for
of
sure.
least favorite, I think it's just generally like dealing with people. Um,
I really enjoyed working with my teammates, but I hate working with people.
I hate
That's what I
working
got.
with your
I hate
people.
everyone else. Understandable.
Understandable.
I mean, it's like even the discussions nowadays on Twitter and stuff, it's like riddled with fallacies, basically. And it's a bit annoying. It's like
Yeah.
everything is super generalized or always taking to some kind of extreme. It's like
But
there's never
Yaspo,
any.
clearly the NAT are out to prevent all the cool, fun maps from getting ranked.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously.
Exactly. That's exactly what we're doing. No, it's just like there's no nuance to any conversation with anyone outside the NAT sometimes. And it just like it's painful that way.
Yeah.
And in regards to people, there's also of course like Peppy and the GMT sometimes. That those gave me some headaches as well. But we got around it eventually.
What about them gave you headaches?
Um well there was a distinct period in my time in Eternal where like the GMT would be very active in the NAT channel, but actually not know what we were talking about. So it was like continuously explaining and answering questions, and we wouldn't get far in discussion because they made argument that for them made sense, but then for us it was like the answer was already obvious because we were like 5 steps ahead of them every time.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I've seen that. I've seen some of that with Pepe in the past, where people were asking for something for a very long time, and then he could be a little bit hard-headed about some things, and basically say no for like 2 years until he finally gives in, and it turned out to work just how people said it.
Or he realized that he said no at the time.
Yeah, he kind of forgot, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't care anymore."
I think that's happened more often than him straight up denying things. It's just like a giant backlog of development features makes it very limiting to think outside of the box that the NET provides, I think.
Yeah, and people can ask for some like ridiculous things. I know that people have been wanting guilds in OS since like 2013.
It would
And
be
Pepe
cool,
has
though.
expressed interest in implementing them, and it just never happened because there's so many other things to do.
And I don't think it'll ever happen now that Discord was established, because back when the guild and clan proposals were really big was like 2012, 2013, and they had all these mock-ups and everything. Discord fills most of those purposes.
That is definitely true. I think Discord has killed a lot of online smaller communities. Like I haven't been on the OS forums in years. I used to be there every day, and it's because of Discord, because you do the same thing but faster.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of miss them. The forums were nice. You
They're
could
still
yell at
there.
someone and get a reply like a day later, and you're no longer mad, but you pretend to be because it's fun.
Because it's fun. Oh man. So Yaspo, do you have any funny stories to share with the class regarding your time in the NAT?
Funny stories. I think the funniest one, like out of all, was the Great BNG War that we wrote up for April Fools. Like Seto and Nofi were absolutely cooking with that one.
I'm not
for
familiar with this.
Yeah, for those who don't know, it's like basically a giant story about a BNG war where Mao would be some kind of undercover agent or whatever, or an assassin and that kind of stuff, and would go out on April Fools in everyone's evals, and the way you went out, it was like a split up story, so everyone got a part and they had to combine it in the end, and the story was just out of this world, basically.
Who wrote this? I want to know who wrote this.
Nofi can tell us more, I think.
Me and Seto were, as Yaspo said, we were cooking. Okay, you can tell which
No.
parts Seto
You were
wrote.
starting a restaurant with this thing. That's more than cooking. This is amazing.
And this was back when we had all of the BNs would get their avals at like the same time, instead of each individually having their own cycles. So it was very, once it was written, it was very easy to divide it up, and we challenged them. Hey guys, you got all of these pieces. You gotta put it together. I don't know how much of this would make sense today if you read it, because it was filled with a lot of very specific people and like group-based jokes.
Yeah, I'm seeing Jonathan LFJ, who is like a dinosaur.
He still is.
Yeah, that's not
He's
changed.
He's still active?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sick.
He has like a 9-year BN badge right now. He's still a BN.
That's amazing.
It's half the reason our being tenured badges go so high.
Well,
It really proves that you
I think
can't
there's only
believe
one other person who has a 9-year badge, right? So he's literally half the reason.
That's so cool, though.
And we had music to accompany this too.
Is that
We
legit?
found on
God.
YouTube, and we had to get
Oh wow.
No.
we had to get Pishy Fat to like make it possible to embed YouTube videos. So
Truly,
they could
that's why we even made that possible. Oh my god.
All right, but here's an important question.
It's
Is
gone.
this the very first OS fanfic?
The very first? I don't
No.
know.
Very first.
Probably
Yeah.
not.
Maybe the very first BN fanfic, I would see that one, but
Because I wonder how many OS fanfics exist. I want to read all of them.
Such a very cursed question.
Right? Who would they write it about? Like Pepe and
There's an
I'm not
OS
gonna finish that
manga
thing.
right now that some people are working on with like top players and all that. I don't know what it's about. I just know it's a thing.
wait. Oh my god. This game is cursed, I think. That's why nobody can leave. Everybody's mad.
Crazy. Absolutely wild.
Thank you for reminding me of this beauty, Aspo. I appreciate that you.
I
still
don't think
remember
I'll
it.
ever forget, so no problem there.
So, Yaspo, can you tell us a bit about what your resignation was like?
Um, it was very difficult on me because like I'd been there for so long. It was like kind of leaving my mainstay in a sense. Um, it's like technically I feel like I could still be doing it, but I would be limiting myself. And I think those kind of decisions are the hardest because like it wasn't explicitly bad for me. I just needed to make a change. But it's
Yeah,
like
those kinds
after,
of big decisions are always spooky.
yeah,
At least I find them spooky as fuck.
but it's like a couple of weeks after, it's like it all felt fine really, and I felt more free than ever. And then I started playing Factorio. I wasn't free anymore.
God dang it!
Out of one
Just
hole
went
into the
from one
other.
game to the next.
Did you start Power World? That one took a lot of my time.
No, I didn't touch it in the end.
Dang.
It seemed a bit too monotonous, maybe for me. So I didn't consider going into it.
Fair.
I couldn't deal with Pal World because they look like worse Pokemon to me.
That's the
I
whole
don't know
internet
about
agrees
worse.
with you.
Yeah, I mean Twitter does at least.
Yeah, at least
Some
Twitter,
parts of
because the
Twitter,
game
yeah.
has like 1 billion players.
Yeah. It's still at like 200,000 concurrent.
That is insane.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that's crazy,
Well,
actually.
good on them for finding success.
Yeah, and they've been doing it like, because I have it, and they've been doing like a fantastic job with bug fixes. Like literally the community, like the bugs that the community finds that are like game breaking and completely like ruining the fun, they fixed first thing, right? Like they're not adding new content or features. They're hard focusing on just like the most major bugs that are like ruining the fun for everyone. And I think that's like exactly the right approach.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree. That's kind of
Yeah.
impressive. You don't see that a lot. It's always like, all right, now that you're all playing, here's our new shop with 1 billion
Right.
things you can buy that don't do anything. So it's cool to see that they're actually like maintaining the game.
And I think that their approach to like having the mentality of like, we don't expect you to play this game forever. Like this is not a game as a service model. When you're done playing the game, that is totally okay. Like once
Yeah.
you've done all you want to do, go ahead and quit. Like we don't care. Like that's why
Reminds me of that.
they're not concerned about going from 2 million concurrent to 200,000 concurrent. Like they recognize that people are just they're playing the game, right? And they're fixing the things that are preventing people from enjoying the game. And there's just a
Yeah.
ridiculous amount of content already, so
Is OS a game as a service?
yeah, probably.
I think it kind of is, but it's like definitely the least egregious in terms of like everything. Like,
Yeah, I mean, OS is just free. There's
imagine if you got like daily login rewards.
Oh, so
it,
you're telling me they should
OS would
rebrand
get
the
banned
OS
in
into like-
China. OS would get banned in
Oh.
China. No,
What if OS was a gacha game and you have to like roll for maps?
you have to roll for PP.
No,
You
they're
have
just
to
not
roll
back
for
OS
people.
coins.
Oh god, I
Oh,
remember OS coins. People got so mad. Did you guys know that Nightcore came out of an April Fool's joke, like the mod?
I did
I
not.
did not.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
did.
so it replaced DT at first because people were ranking a lot of Nightcore maps at the time, and there was like a lot of like criticism to that. So Pepe added Nightcore instead of DT so that every map would sound like Nightcore. He was like, "You guys like Nightcore? Have more."
That's
And
good.
people were so mad. And then a day later, like he brought DT back, but some people loved the Nightcore mod so much that they asked him to bring it back as a separate mod, and then he did.
And
I think nightcoring the songs, it makes it sound better than DTing the songs usually. So I think it works.
Yeah,
I
that has to
remember-
do with like bit rates and stuff.
and it was like I think it was like 2 years where they did it for April Fools before they actually added it as a mod. But people would always share, "Hey, here's how you can change the system date on your computer, and it will let you use Nightcore again." And it was like, what?
That does sound like old
That's-
OS code.
That sounds so hardcore for just a Nightcore mod,
Worth it.
honestly. Yeah,
People
absolutely.
people will go far for mods in any game. They
For
will
sure.
sacrifice their firstborn to install a Minecraft shader or whatever. Like the amount of steps you have to take, it's ridiculous.
I mean, the shader probably looks better, you know.
It's worth the firstborn, probably.
Um, so I think we can probably move on from that.
Thank you,
We can't
Yaspo.
linger on the NAT stuff forever. So I just wanted to give a quick update on the ranked section, in terms of what recently new Vocaloid maps have been ranked. So if we want to pull up the beat map listing, I guess.
Alrighty.
There's obviously some notable ones. You got a couple loved maps that came out in that were cool. There's the 7-minute Renumi map that me and Nafi nominated. We were gonna nominate it like a year ago. We finally got around to it. So it's got a cool storyboard. It's kind of just vibes. I think the biggest one is Aishite 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 by Kikuo, mapped by Ice Cult. That one's a cool one.
It's
I
still
was
on
gonna
top
say,
of
what a
popular.
title, and then
Oh, I didn't
heard
even
that.
realize it was. I didn't even realize it was top of popular. Dang.
Oh yeah.
So definitely one of the more notable maps. So pretty awesome there. Had some timing issues. Oops.
Oopsie.
Alright, well, not even timing issues, snapping issues. Anyway. And then what else was there? Pedal had a new map. Pedal usually has like pretty popular like alternator maps, like Vocaloid stuff. So that's cool to see another one. What else was there? And then in one of the modes, the Ioka set of Fuwari. It's like a 2-mode set of I think Taiko and Mania. So that's pretty cool.
It's
But
cool
yeah,
to
I
see that
think,
people are still mapping number 39.
and
It's so good.
of course, Alcher has
Yeah.
another Kikuo map because what is Alcher not map?
And that is
Alcher.
being qualified right now.
Oh, he's got one, but in February 7th, he also
Oh.
had another one too.
No. Okay. There's just more than one Alcher map. Gotcha. For Kiku.
Yep. So he's got that, and then last month he had another one. So
Oh yeah. Thank you, Alcher.
he really likes his Kikuo, which I definitely respect. Kikuo makes some banger music.
Oh my god, it's Pokemon Color! This was one of the official demo songs when Tone Rion came out. And I linked those maps in the chat. I hope I got most of them. If you guys want to download them and play them and check them out, you should. If that's why you're here, right?
You should, yeah. Pretty cool stuff. And then there's a couple other ones, but everyone is doing a great job mapping a lot of Vocaloid. I'm actually pretty happy with the amount of Vocaloid maps that came out last month. Usually there's, I think, a lot less. Like even Toybot mapped one.
That is so cool.
I love
So.
this map description. Os needs more Kikuo, number 28.
But I do respect the hustle there.
That's what I aspire
No,
to
it's
be.
cool.
You
Yeah,
know
if
what was
like an
crazy,
artist,
though?
push them.
You know what's crazy though? Is there's been 39 ranked Vocaloid maps in 2024, which of course is the number for Hatsune Miku. You know,
Miku.
So-
That is
it's very funny.
What a
so
day to
insane.
be
It's been
alive.
2 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
2 actual months because February is a short stack.
Not as short this year. Happy
True.
2 days after Leap Day, guys.
I was so confused by the leap day at first. It's
Yeah,
like,
me too.
wait,
I
this
was
thing is at Friday, but there is not enough days for that. What the hell?
I mean, at least people who are born on February 29th can finally go up a year. You know.
So
That's true. They can be 40 and 10 at the same time.
Yep. Good times making fun of them.
It's
I
the
don't know
day
anyone.
February feels an inch taller.
Alrighty. So let's get on to our main topic. The reason that we're all here today. Let's talk about some veto history. What are some good and bad vetoes that have happened? Who are like the most prolific vetoers? How have the opinions of vetoes changed? How has the history of it changed? So let's get into that.
I think the best veto was image material because the reason for it was that it had AR10, and that is the funniest thing to think about. Like that there was a whole discussion about whether it should be AR10 or not.
258. Holy crap! That's a long thread. And half of it's just like I
That's a
can't
lot. That's
read
a
it.
reaction.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
crazy.
think
Yeah, it
vetoes
starts
were
out Chinese, but then it gets English real fast.
When
And then there's a whole argument about like the Chinese mapping circle. It's a fucking roller coaster. I love it.
I don't see this discussed that often anymore, even though this is such an iconic map.
Yeah, I think most people forgot the drama. I think the person to make the DQ post was Shiro.
There is definitely discussion here. This is this is so sad. We don't have any of our icons anymore, so you don't know unless you know who did what.
Yeah.
That is a lot of red.
You know it's a real thread when Charles shows up.
Yeah.
He's like a superhero. He appears from the darkness and gives his opinion.
Did Locktav show up on like every set, or was it just the notable ones that he showed up on?
Maybe it's because it had Tycho.
I think it's the later ones because Locktav, like, I think if you go to like the big black thread, which also got a DQ, as you might have imagined, Locktav wouldn't be in there, probably.
Hmm.
No,
I saw him in
just
this one.
no.
Oops.
Oh, a little bit too zoom.
Yeah, a little bit. Now I lost my place.
You'll find it.
I will. Here we go. No. Just no.
Yeah.
Beyond overwrapped. What kind of attitude is this?
And this
Unwrenching.
went from popped bubble to approved in under an hour. Yeah, there was like a lot of discussion at the time about like circle jerking in mapping, and speed ranking was seen as very bad back then. So this going from like fixing the bubble to instantly approved was actually like a point of contention back then. Now I think it's kind of normal when people speed rank stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we did
Probably.
eventually remove the 24 hours rule at one point, heading into modding V2, just because the bubbles popping on reset made that so much more tedious.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then there's edit this post sucks. So there was a lot. Oh, that's another thing. Everyone used to think things were overmapped back then. Notably, Genryu Kaiko was a major point of complaint by everyone. They said it was overmapped because people's headsets weren't good enough to hear the relatively silent hi-hats that the streams are mapped to.
Mhm.
So that was fun.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've read that thread as well, and I was like, "You're not that silent. What the hell?"
Yeah, I looked at it afterwards. I'm like, it's pretty audible.
Yeah, I had modded this map back then during the drama. It was also a amazing trip. And just like with Scorpio's map, it starts out entirely Chinese and becomes increasingly more legible.
Ruruchi played this song. LOL. XX Death X. It's a throwback to see you.
It
That's
really
amazing.
is. That is the name. I love it. What happened to them? I don't know what they are.
I don't know.
They just
I mean,
vanished.
what happened to a
Cheesiest.
lot of these people?
Oh my god.
No.
I haven't seen cheesiest in like a decade, at least. Kaishiro. Is he still active?
I don't know.
Not sure.
No,
so.
we can't.
No, we can't.
That is a very Kaishiro post.
Please don't. I think I need a second cursor for the last part. OS was built different back then, guys.
Yeah. Irreversible. Man, everybody had something to say about this one.
And
Just leaving my mark.
sometimes these days, everybody has something to say too, but you don't notice it as much because they post it on Twitter instead of the map thread.
Yeah, this is why I miss forums. You used to see everyone's bad take, like in a row. You could just grab a bucket of popcorn and have a great time.
I can't believe this map is going for rank.
Honestly, though, like, you just go from like the forums to like just scrolling through Twitter and seeing all the bad takes, and scrolling through Reddit and seeing all the bad takes. So it's not really much different. You just gotta check 2 places now.
It's less easy to keep track of for historical reference.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Just wait, the Charles
Absolutely.
post is gonna show up eventually. He is like a harbinger of doom.
Oh god.
I
The
love this
anticipation.
mod here. I remember when mods used to look like this.
Add whistle.
The great waterfall. Oh my god.
Remove
Oh my
whistle.
god, this is amazing.
I think all of the mods of substance at this point were in Chinese still.
Yeah, it takes like I think it's like 200 posts until it really kicks in.
200? I'm just gonna hit the skip button on this. You can barely.
Oh, I'm like right there actually.
Where?
Like if you scroll. I don't remember
What the
what I said.
fuck?
Let's scroll down.
Oh.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
You were there.
I was here. Look, Mom.
I'm on TV, Mom.
Then now you're extra
Yeah.
there.
Oh, that's a text. That's a
Yeah,
wall
I
of-
did a mod of this afterwards, but I was quite upset.
Yeah, I just find it so funny, like the crap that Hollowings got in like 2020, 2011 to like 2017 or so, and then now they're seen as like the greatest mapper of all time.
Yeah, she would get shit for every map, like every single one. It was kind of impressive. Like, how can you make every map controversial? Like a Mr. Beast video could be made about it.
Handsome still there, just memeing.
Lust, another name that has vanished into the shadows.
He was around for a long time, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening.
So this is really happening.
The hype is real. The drama's
Oh my
incoming.
God.
And you can see Miss Matt. Blue Dragon here, still here.
Yeah, he's another one of those who just sticks around.
Everybody was so excited, you know?
They
Yeah,
have
a lot of
drama, or
people
what?
love this map, and then once the Charles, like, I think it gets DQ'd at some point. And then Charles shows up, and it's a shit fest.
I'll get there eventually, maybe.
Probably.
Almost halfway, right?
This map is not
Let me
made
get
for
my
you.
Nathan knows what's up, dude. I told you, you grab a bucket of popcorn.
This map is not made for humans.
Ah, Dark Sonic. He's still GMT. Holy
Oh,
fuck.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's still active, too. It's not like he's just sitting there and being green, like some people do. This is so wholesome.
PKHG, always there to support. Hate and love this map. Thanks for playing.
Thanks for playing.
Hollow is always so wholesome too.
And, like, sometimes when this stuff is happening, it's like, oh god, this is so much. But when you read back on it, it's like, oh damn.
Yeah. I remember I asked Hollow Wings once how she dealt with like people constantly talking shit about her map, and she instantly responded with, "Well, they're wrong, so what am I gonna do?" She just doesn't care.
So Tick Click was actually the one that DQ'd it, which is crazy because I don't remember him being.
Sorry, but
This map lacks
lacks a
something
fair-
called quality.
Oh my god.
Lacks a fair bit of
Tickling.
something that's called quality.
That is so savage.
What the fuck?
Blatant abuse of patterns. What does that mean?
They're abusing circle placements to create patterns, I guess. How
No,
dare
I
they
believe
create
what it
patterns?
meant is like sometimes you still see people complain about this today is when maps are made to look at and they have a lot of really well made patterns and everything's following the pattern, and then other people are like, but you're not following the song kind of idea.
Yeah, I also think there's a timestamp next to it, so pattern is like
1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
1, 2.
Still crazy though. Like the reasons for unranking at the time. Like people complain today when they get like basically a short novel by Fuju on what the problem is. And back then it was they would just DQ and say nope,
Your
and
map
that was the whole
sucks.
post. Yeah, this sucks, and I'm not letting it get ranked. Bye.
And there's definitely an aspect of that it's been pushed more and more in the mapper's favor over the years. Like, well, it used to be if you got DQ'd, you had to start your 7 days over again. But people are referring to unranks here, so I believe this is before qualified even existed.
Yeah, this is long before qualified.
So
This
it
was when you only had BATs at this time. This was like before QATs.
Back when all your scores would go bye-bye if I got unranked.
I remember living through that time, but I don't remember how long ago it was. So when I see things, sometimes I'm like, I don't know which period this was in.
feel old yet.
This was
No.
2013, I think, because it says 9 years ago.
Wow, quick maths.
Wow.
Yeah, I can count. Are you proud?
No,
Oh,
Crazy.
I tried.
Oh, it's Nixon.
yeah, it's kind of crazy to look at like
Nick's a
how
jump
much.
scare.
Nick's
In
a
the-
jump scare.
Unfortunately, that this is the reality of the QAT now. That they believe they can make subjective unranks for map quality without any attempt at improving the map because they believe their definition of quality is more important than the BATs involved. This all sounds like the same thing we still say today when people don't like
Yeah.
review.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Nothing has changed.
Really, nothing
There's
has.
just a difference between how the subjectivity expressed and whether the map gets unranked or just vetoed.
Is that
Captain
Elvis
was
peeking out
coming.
from below there?
I think so, yeah.
Passing by.
Yep.
His name is so confusing for me now because there is a mapper called Natica.
Desu.
Yeah, honestly, I've never understood how Elvis could change his name to that, because like both mappers have ranked maps under the name Natekadesu. Like,
Yeah,
and it's like,
it's kinda
isn't the
insane.
idea aren't people supposed to, like, once you rank a map you can never have that name again kind of thing, or like nobody else can have that name?
Well,
Yeah.
clearly that's not the case,
I
right?
think it
Clearly
just flew
not,
under the
right, but-
radar. And I believe the name change before, it was like a hard restriction, rather than people manually going in and removing or reverting a name.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that was the case.
What a guy.
Make this my words. Yeah, Captain knew what was up. Miliore, he was like the easy hidden guy before Ikoro became like the main person that impressed people. So this is also an ancient fucking name. And he still has
Milior?
protester as a title,
Yeah.
whatever that means.
Oh, because he tests. You know, for the longest time, I didn't make the connection that he was named after an anime girl.
I never knew this.
Yeah, Miliore is his PFP.
Oh my god. He was a Toho player. I remember I commented on how playing easy became easier after I got better at Toho, and he was like, "Yeah, that's how I did it."
What the fuck?
Yeah.
And then we have a lot of pretty nicely written mods, I would say. Overall, they're, you know, the DQ post was harsh, but everyone else is chill so far. But there's
All the other mods besides the DQ post were better than the DQ post. It's really sad.
really not doing justice to the DQer, huh?
I forgot that I participated in this thread this much. I thought I just made a mod post.
Nah, you were terminally online even back then.
Sadly so.
Sadly so. Nothing changes, honestly.
Oh
Ever.
no. People have
Oh,
different
true. That's a real
opinions.
trend, isn't it?
Blue Dragon has always known what's up, as expected by the guy that made Big Black. Like, he has made so many legendary maps. It's actually kind of crazy that they all came from one person. You don't see that a lot if you think about it.
I mean, we're talking about Hollow Wings right now, so
That is true.
They're up there.
But I feel like Hollow Wings' maps didn't become as legendary as stuff like Big Black.
true.
Hollow Wings is legendary among mappers.
I mean, weren't the
Big
only ones
Black
that
is
like
legendary.
he made? I feel like Big Black or like Blue Dragon only really made Airman and Big Black that were like super big.
Yeah.
That at least I know of. That were big.
Yeah, it's Airman and Big Black, and I mean, he later made some maps that also gained some notoriety, like that Quick Brown Fox one and the Kobario one. I forget the names. I think it was Bookmaker.
Oh
for
god,
Big
that
Black
was
is the quick Baron
Pensamito
Fox.
Típico de Escuerda Caviar.
Wait,
This-
Pensamento, holy. I remember watching
Okay,
the
so
Richie going for the
this
DTFC.
this song is a massive troll by Big Black because the lyrics are awful, and he got it ranked because nobody understands Portuguese. I don't think this could be ranked if it was in English.
Yeah, it would have had problems.
It's only Brazilians losing their minds in this thread. Like, no way you're ranking this.
Thank you so much. It's happening. You know.
Oh, Chewin, or however you pronounce his name.
Chewin, yeah.
Does he still map?
Sometimes.
Damn. He's also old school.
Ranked. Instantly ranked. And then I believe people talked about this later on and they were like, oh god, what have we done?
Mistakes were made.
The Brazilians are coming in.
Yeah.
I do think we need to move on to another veto.
Okay.
We've been on this Hollow Wings one for a while.
We went
No,
into
this
a
is
couple of layers.
Blue Dragon. But yeah, we did go quite deep.
Yeah. What is? Yes, but what's your favorite veto?
My favorite?
The
I
one
think,
that
like,
lives rent free in your brain.
Rent free. Well, my own veto is definitely live rent free in my brain.
I
'cause
knew it.
But I think otherwise, like just like the kind of BG diff name vetoes are always funny to me, because the trend is always like you against them. It's like there's no nothing. It's just stupid.
I'm sorry,
you can't
there's
back it
one
up.
pixel of panties. We cannot let this through.
Nah, that's even just moderation. I'm fine with that. Just like, especially the Mamma Mia one. I think I linked that one on Discord. Yeah,
I
that
got
one.
it.
It's really just like so funny. Everybody's just like trying to explain how it fits, except for the one guy that doesn't get it.
Okay, this is really funny.
It's so silly.
The feeling this difficulty name gives does not match what the song is giving.
It's like there's apparently supposed to be something esoteric about diff names at that point, I guess. It's like, what's the
But
use?
are there even any restrictions on diff name besides it not being like vulgar?
Well, it can be a username, of course. And needs to fit like the spread progression. Otherwise,
That
you can
change
do
made me
anything.
so sad. There was something cool about having a diff name that was just the mapper's name. I don't know. I kind of miss it. Even though it's probably better that they got rid of that. But you know how you play old maps, and especially Val maps, he would put like 0108 as like the diff name.
Hmm.
It had like a vibe to it.
Or like you had even like Kakatetsu no Thanatos or something like that, the Natsume Rin
Yeah,
map,
there's like
where
3
it's like
different names.
Rin, RLC, Skystar were the diff names.
This
Yeah.
was way more relevant back before like PPV2 became a thing and star rating got changed to the 10-star scale. Because back then, you had your easies, you had your normals, your hards were like 4 stars, and then everything else was 5 stars. So if you didn't
I
name
remember
it,
that.
you didn't know what difficulty level it was. Because
Yeah,
it was
going
all
back to
5
old
stars.
maps is like your hard diff could either be a normal insane or it could be or like it could be like the easiest hard diff you've ever seen and you have no idea.
And
Yeah, I remember one time a guy showed me a map that was the equivalent of a 7-star today, and he said it was a hard, and I said this is not a hard, and he said it's a hard. I don't
It
know
is
what that's
it
supposed to
is a
be.
hard.
It's a, yeah,
It would be a hard. I agree.
and like for example here with the big black, this applies to all the old maps, by the way. You can go to their forum thread and you can see their old star rating because it was listed in this metadata here. 5
yeah,
stars.
4.
5 stars. That's so true.
It's like either you're a beginner or it's 5 stars. There's nothing in between.
Honestly, though, like I've gone like 2 years ago when I got Beat Saber and was going through custom maps. It felt like literally this, where like I'd be looking at like a 3-star map and either it's completely unplayable or it's too easy. Like there's no in
Yeah.
between.
I
I
hate
remember
that about
playing
Beat Saber. It's
yeah.
so bad. I'll be like, oh, I can play this, and then I just get attacked by directions.
Yeah, exactly. Because like there's no standardization for like what difficulty settings. Like either you have to react in half a second or you have 5 seconds to react.
Yeah.
That's something I really appreciate that OS does, that it has an automatic calculator, even if people disagree on the details of it sometimes. Like, I
It's
would play a
usually
lot of
fairly
fucking-
accurate. Like
Yeah.
It's good enough because like I rarely encounter like a 7-star map that's harder than a 6-star map, or vice versa, unless it's a KDG star map. Those are always underrated.
Yeah. And I remember
there's
playing
some
Kontsushima.
exceptions. There's definitely some exceptions. Like I remember like learning the game, playing like 3 and 4-star maps, and be like, some of these I can play, some of these I can't. But now looking back, it's like, okay, these are just different like approaches. Like some are more reading oriented, some are more speed oriented. You have different BPMs, you have different difficulty settings, different mapping styles that make things more or less hard. But generally, they would fall within that difficulty range. You're not going to find a 7-star jump spike in a 3-star map, you know.
Mhm.
What I don't like about SR is what it's done to ranking a map, because like at the outset it makes sense that you go like, okay, an easy is this many stars, a medium is this many stars, etc.
Yeah.
But the problem is like with how SR weighs things, sometimes the rating doesn't actually match the requirement. Like I'm currently mapping a GD for Half Slashed, and he asked it to be like somewhere within 6 stars, so not 7 stars. But because it's 260 BPM, it's impossible to stay under 7 stars mapping 6-star patterns, like the kind of skill level you would expect for someone who can play 6 stars at 260 BPM. And it just kind of sucks because I showed a part of that map to Yaspo, and he was like, "Yeah, this seems like it would fall in line with the spread, but it doesn't according to the SR." So I
Mhm.
wish there was like more leniency in the ranking process for star ratings, that they were more like guidelines, and that ultimately it's up to the judgment of the BN.
Well, isn't the reason that like a host would want you to not go above a certain star rating is just so that they can have the top diff?
No, because theirs is an 8-star.
Oh, so you wouldn't
It's
have
to
risk
fill
of it?
out like spread requirements. Because if you
Oh.
have an
Well, at
8-star,
the same time, like
you can't have a 5-star and then an 8-star. You need something in
at the same
between.
time, BNs know that like it's not about the star rating; it's about the difficulty elements that they are watching for when they talk about spread. So like you can have an insane that's less than 4 stars, and it would fit the insane difficulty. Or you might have an insane that's like 5-star, but would be more of an extra level difficulty because of whatever difficulty elements are there. And if any
Does the
BN says you otherwise, then they're just wrong.
does the RC say that? Because I remember in the past the
It's all
requirements were kind of
guidelines.
strict. It's under guidelines. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I don't think
I
the
don't think it says
RC
explicitly, but
I don't think the RC says anything about like star rating gaps, and that's like,
right.
to my knowledge, mostly said it's up to the BN's discretion what a proper spread is. I think the SRM thing is mainly just like trying to even out the spread, so it's more acceptable for BNs to accept in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I
Yeah.
just remembered a time where I think this was around when the new star rating system came out, and they kind of tried to adapt the RC to it. And I think at that time it was kind of mandatory, like you had to have something between this and this SR. But it's good to see that it's like more loosened up now.
Yeah, it's definitely like very subjective and up to interpretation of like whoever the nominators are, and then of course the NAT who would potentially be evaluating it. But generally, it's like if it's not egregiously super like crazy unrealistic difficulty spike and like gap, like you probably going from 5 to 8 stars is too much, but going from 5 to like 7, that's probably a lot more reasonable, and you can get away with that.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on, of course, whatever difficulty elements. Like if it's just like a straight spacing increase to go from 5 to 7, like okay, that's just like fairly reasonable. But now if you're going from like a generic like aim farm PP 5-star map, and you're going to go to like a 7-star that's like full of reading complexity, like it's like some Hollowings like snake stick thing, then probably that is a really big difficulty spike that would probably want to have some kind of progression in the spread.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Same reason that you might have like a harder 4-star that's like intensive to read, and then you have like an easier 5-star that's like more aim oriented. Like that 4-star might even be too hard relative to that 5-star.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. So, what are your All right, I'll start with Nafi. What is your favorite veto?
I have to tell you, it's back to the Mamma Mia one. That one was so stupid. I remember I was running the like sending out the messages to all the mediators to do it and everything. So like, posting, we started the veto mediation to help keep things moving, expect to see things in around a week. But in reality, when I messaged the mediators, I was like, can you do this as soon as possible? It really shouldn't take you that long. And this veto was done. So I started the mediation on May 12th, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let me see, where's... And we resolved it within less than 28 hours.
Wow.
That's
insane.
Everyone is just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I'm not sure what they were thinking. I don't like
no.
this diff name, man.
We're leaking all the deleted comments.
Oops. You didn't
Oops.
see anything. It probably doesn't matter. They're just derailing the thread.
All of the people who don't know that NET can see deleted comments be like, what?
Oopsie.
They have moderation powers? No way.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
But
Do you guys remember the one? What was it? I can't remember, but there was like a I think it was related to Seto Kosuke, where I think his like BN app, he was just like saying hi to like Trina, just like something like that, in all deleted comments, so only Trina could see it.
I can't say I remember that, but that sounds very Seto core.
I think it was Seto. I remember doing it too with like saying hi to Yaspo and Uber Zolik in my applications. I don't know if anyone saw those.
I don't think I saw it though. Oh, maybe I have actually. I remember something like it.
I never heard anything about them, so. But I like to like just leave comments and just delete them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like some kind of hidden communication channel, one way only.
Yep.
It's kind of sick. It's like sending encoded messages in Lemon.
Exactly. It's a good time.
I can't remember the names of the maps because the maps themselves weren't notable, but all the background vetoes are really funny.
It's like I said, they're just
Okay,
like
what are background vetoes about? Because Yaspo said that if it's about something that breaks the rules, that's like moderation. So
Wasn't there a ranking criteria rule that said that backgrounds had to be related to the song in some way?
No, people keep trying to propose it and then everybody else shoots it down.
I thought there was that at the one point, and then it got removed.
If it was a very long time ago or very briefly. But it's been about
Gotcha.
like reasonable quality and everything, and there's always been proposals to make it a requirement that it should be related. I can't remember the name of the song, but I know there was one background veto. It was a Toho, of course. And people were like, "This is the wrong Toho girl." So the mapper like photoshopped it. They changed out the anime girl's head to the correct girl, so that they could keep the same background and
That's funny.
storyboard and everything.
and this is why I hate Toho.
That is
It's the
so
wrong
insane.
girl, everyone's bad.
No, but
I
putting the wrong Toho in the background is like a sport. It's like really fun to do because everyone gets mad at you, and
right.
it's so inane. It's like who cares?
It's just an anime girl in the end, right?
And then everybody gets
Well,
mad at them for getting mad about it. Why it's like, why do you care?
see, like I wouldn't care, but like I'm a fan of Vocaloid, and it does annoy me when people put the wrong Vocaloid on a song, or like put a Vocaloid on a song that doesn't have a Vocaloid at all. Like, don't put a Hatsune Miku on a Kagami no Rin song, like please.
I would do that. I
If
would
it's
do
the
that to
wrong
piss off
singer,
people like you.
if it's the wrong singer, yeah, that's so tilting. But if it's Miku on a random song, that's so aesthetic. What do you mean?
I don't
I
like it
have
because I look at like the little preview images and I'm like, oh, it's Miku, and then I click the song preview and I'm like, no, there's no Miku.
Let
I
down
feel
and
baited.
betrayed.
I'm like every time it's like, god damn it.
if Fiery Rage had balls, he would have put a bleach background on Lonely Go.
Because you can't tell if a song has Hatsune Miku or like any Vocaloid just based on the metadata most of the time. Because a lot of artists, they're either just like a one-off person or maybe you don't even know that they make Vocaloid, and like the song wouldn't have like a feat Hatsune Miku on it, right? It's very common. So the only way you really know without like listening to the entire song or like looking at the tags, just like when you're browsing through what's qualified or ranked, is by looking at the BG. So I
Yeah,
feel baited.
no, I get that. That makes sense. I actually had something crazy happen one time. I have this song that it's mostly instrumental, but there's like a couple vocal samples in it, which I just thought were regular vocal samples. And I had put Hatsune Miku background on it because I just like the background. It's this one, and it fit the vibe of the song. And then later, it turned out that the vocal samples were Miku. So it just ended up lining up, but I had no idea. I just pretended.
Yeah, I remember what I was. I think Nuffy might know what I'm talking about. But I was modding a map and with Errol, I think it was, and we were listening to the song, and Errol's like, I think this is like Hatsune Miku," and I was like, "Well, the artist doesn't say it's Hatsune Miku. Like, where's like there's
Oh,
no
the
information
Ponga
about
one.
this." You do? You know what I'm talking about?
The Ponga map.
Yeah, something like that. And I was like, well, it might be Miku, but I have no idea. I need to get confirmation. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
Zero Fill Love. Yeah, this Ponga map. It just randomly
one was
has
so-
Miku in it.
Yeah, it just has a random Miku sample, like some random spot, and we're just like, see, only like one little tiny like 3-second segment of the song has Miku, and it's like, what the fuck?
That's
Yeah.
kind of sick. You just put Miku as like a partial sample. I'm gonna do that, and I'm just gonna change her pitch so nobody recognizes it.
I'll still recognize
And it was
it.
just like, do we add Miku into the tags or do we not? And like Errol wanted to, and I'm like, well, unless it's like actually Miku, I don't want to add it to the tags.
This reminds me of like sites with like tagged characters where you search a character's tag and they're in there, but they're not. You don't see them in the picture, and it turns out there's like a little plushy reference of them way in the background, and this kind of feels like that.
That is so scuffed.
And from experience, I can tell you, don't put Miku in the tags because it's like the thing you said. They're going to see Miku and they're going to hope for a Miku song. And they put this on and they're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I've kind of like changed my tune. Like, sure, you can include tags for literally everything, but like that's not really what the point of a tag is necessarily. Like, it's supposed to help people find it, right? And if
Yeah,
they are looking for Miku and they find your map because you put it in the tags, they're not really getting what they asked for.
I mean,
yeah. You
that's
just
just a chaotic evil part of like being a mapper. It's like you can put stuff in the tags that confuses people.
didn't that get banned because people are like super anal about metadata?
No, people aren't really so anal about metadata, I think, anymore. Like,
Oh,
especially
really?
tags.
That's
Like, tags are pretty chill. Like they're chill with like duplicate tags if you have duplicate tags. Like,
Can you
as
put
long
like
as they're
stream
reasonable.
as a tag or like jumps?
Yeah, you
yeah.
can. Yeah,
It
yep,
describes the map
absolutely.
Really?
style. That's been allowed
Yep.
for like 5 years now.
That's
5
so
years,
crazy.
really? Damn, that's crazy.
What I hate about that is that you can do it, but you don't have to, which means that some jump maps are going to have jump in the tag and
Right.
some aren't.
That's why
Like,
we
it doesn't help
desperately
you.
need user contributed tags like Pixiv and Nico Video have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be amazing, actually. I would love that.
OMDB does have it, but
That's on another site, and
yeah,
um,
a little bit of a controversy around that site anyway. So
yeah. I like know for Pixiv, this is part of the reason why there's so many ultra specific tags for types of images, is because the community has just come up with all these weird terms to refer to this aesthetic and stuff over time.
yep.
You mean tags like holding one hand over guardrail or something like that?
Yeah, but with like nicer names.
Those tags are a godsend as an artist when you're looking for references. It's like, oh my god, thank you. I can't believe this exists.
Right. Exactly. Especially because you can combine different tags, like holding one hand over guardrail, not attached to ground.
I'm picturing that now. It looks terrible. How does that even? Oh no! It's like someone T-posing in midair. It's
God,
like
no.
Oh no. Yeah.
I think the worst tag, the funniest tags in my life was when Wafer took what I said about, yeah, you're allowed to put duplicate tags, and he did something really dumb. I think, I don't remember exactly what the tags were, but it was like a Sword Art Online map, and it went something like, he just filled it like all the way down with like Kirito is love or something like that.
oh my god.
Uh,
That sounds like something Wafer would do.
It was like for his iPod recorder map, I think.
I remember I tried to put Boruto is the greatest anime of all time in my tags, and I wasn't allowed to, and I was very
Oh, do
sad.
you guys
That is so
remember
sad.
Celery
What?
does like really funny metadata things like um usually it's like within like the naming system of their files, but like I remember nominating a Celery map and like the background diff or the background name was like Uber Zoluk is the father of my children and won't pay alimony or something like that. I know that there was one that got like DQ'd because of the background name. It was like
That's
like, God dang
amazing.
it. So yes, always
Also,
makes fun of Uber Zolik in
what
those.
what Boruto song did you map?
I think one of the intros I ranked it
Really?
in. Yeah,
Sick. I didn't know you fucking did any
ranked
of
maps.
that.
Yeah, I mean,
I no, I didn't know you made any Boruto maps because I remember when you were watching it and like ranting to me about it.
I think it was like for like a small mapping contest in like a small beginner mapper server. And we were
Mm,
supposed to make an awkward A map, and I was like, hell yeah, let's have some anime.
I love awkward A maps. I want
And
every map to be an awkward A
put it
map.
full of linear jumps.
Oh my god. In terms of like weird metadata things, there is a ranked, I don't remember exactly which map it is, but there is a ranked Bakari/Riffy map. I don't remember which name he ranked it under. Where in, I believe it's in the colors section. So like, you have your OS file, it like lists out all the metadata, the colors, and then all the hit objects in the OS script code. And
Hmm.
in the colors section, instead of having like color 1, 2, 3, 4, they hid a like Shrek is love, Shrek is life type of reference, and it was like, it didn't get picked up by any like bug detectors or any modders or anything. So it's just out there somewhere.
That's amazing. That's beautiful.
Peppy develop on laser, be like, oh no, what is this doing here?
If I was Peppy, I would be proud of them. Good job, kid.
Good job.
You know, speaking of like vetoes, there was one that I was kind of maybe thinking that would potentially get like DQ'd for was one of the wafer maps I nominated where it just has like a sample of him meowing.
What? He what?
Oh, no.
Like he literally used it like his meowing as like a whistle to like start the last chorus. It was like, huh. Like I remember like hearing it. I'm like, why is that like a random cat? And he's like, no, that's not a cat.
That's me. That's amazing, dude.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Wow.
That is-
All right, you know what? Wafer, good BN. I approve.
Thank you, Wafer.
Thank you, Wafer. That is fucking awesome. And that did not get DQ'd, so there's a
No,
Wafer
no.
meow map.
It was public. Like everyone knew about it because I posted on Twitter, and it was like in the BN server. I was flaming him for it. I was like, I don't really care.
I don't.
It's funny.
It's funny. It's hilarious. And if anybody made a problem of that, they would just look like a weirdo for caring too much about some dude meowing.
I feel like Logtav would complain about that. He would have no meowing in his rank section.
Is ranked. True.
Trying to find that one, the one celery thing that got DQ'd. Can't find it. I don't exactly know what map it was on, so.
White, what's your favorite DQ?
I mean, honestly, DQs have been kind of maybe not boring, but like controversial in the last several years. But like they're interesting, but like they're hard to like. If you say you agree with it, half the community is gonna hate you, and if you say you don't agree, the other half will hate you. So they're always controversial nowadays.
But this is the fun part. You need to find a way to piss off both sides.
Okay. Gotcha. So I actually respect a lot like the Fuju DQ and the Achu DQ. Fuju on the Nebula one and Achu on a Delta. I was like, nice. But those are the ones I liked because it was like, at least in the communities that I spent time in, it was like finally somebody said it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's how it felt.
Mm-hmm.
And then like both of them were like, actually I think Delta handled his relatively well after a while, because I think both Delta and Nebula were like, no, this is ridiculous, like the map is fine. And then Delta eventually came around to like, okay, I actually agree, like that I could improve this. Nebula really didn't. So that was a little unfortunate because I think Fuju's veto was like, not that the map is like completely terrible and should never get ranked. It was there's ways you can improve this, and I think you should improve it. And Nebula didn't really want to do that, and then the veto and the mediation obviously forced him to do it. But yeah.
And why did he not want to do it?
Because the point was like, so the point that Fuju was making was that the map's whole point was to create like a very simple stream farm. But the way Nebula went around doing that was by like completely underweighting the aim. Like the aim is like 3-star, 4-star kind of aim difficulty. The only difficulty is in the streams, and just that the fact that everything is a stream, right? Like filler streams, they're all equally spaced. There's no contrast, and that Fuju thought that Nebula should increase the spacing, like difficulty, so it kind of matches the stream difficulty and improve contrast in places. And Nebula was like, no, that's not the point of the map. The point of the map is to create simple stream farm that is not aim difficult, that is not aim intensive, and is just like fun. So
So is it now seen like deliberately making a farm map? Is that now seen as like a valid thing to do?
As long as it's good.
As long as it's good, yeah.
Because
It really
Okay.
depends who you're asking as well. It's like obviously the people who make those maps will go like, yeah, this supports the game and the play environment. And while the people who care more about like map quality, I guess, which is a hot term these days, will say, well, no, this is just way too optimized towards giving PP very often.
Okay. Because I remember it used to be like really taboo. Not taboo per se, but like it was seen as like bad. Like if people made a farm map, they tried to kind of hide it. They tried to make it look like a normal map, but then it had like a farm section. So seeing people say like, no, 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 the point of this map is to be a farm map. That's like kind of crazy to me because I'm used to, like, if you would say that, you would get crucified back then. It would just be like, all right, well, since this is a farm map, we're definitely not requalifying it. Like, good job. But yeah.
I think like definitely with like Sotarks having existed, it's become a lot more normal because like
Yeah.
he has set the example for what a cheap exploit is. So everything that comes after is like, okay, this is not as cheap or it is as cheap, but it already exists, so whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And since PP is actively developed and updated every now and then, I think the bigger focus is whether or not, regardless of why the map was made, is like how well does it fit the song and like how cohesive is it within itself or not. So kind of like what you said before about people like hiding that it's a farm map, and like everybody seems to go for the same style these days, so it's a little more obvious. But anyway,
Yeah.
if it is a huge problem somehow, that's more likely to just get fixed in a PP update. So, not my
yeah, that's
concern.
like I remember hearing people be like, regarding the Brazil map that was recently ranked, how people were like, well, if it's like too farmy or like overweighted, then why are people like why and that shouldn't have been ranked because of that. How come Zane was allowed to get ranked, like Zane by Lasse, right? And like how come that one was allowed to get ranked? And like to me, it's a little bit of like not the correct comparison because one, Zane is actually a good map made by a mapper who didn't intend for it to be PP, right? Like I think anyone knowing Lasse is just like this is just a normal Lasse map, and it just happened to be extremely overweighted because it just happened to be ranked in a time where like this pattern or whatever was calculated improperly, and they fixed it. And then people are like, okay, well, how come it wasn't stopped from getting ranked? And you know, I can't speak to the other groups, but like BNs aren't really supposed to be the curators of PP, like preventing people from ranking maps because it's overweighted. That's other groups within OSU that would do that, right?
Calling Lasse PP mapper is like a joke without it's like a punchline without a setup.
Yeah, it's so
Like
cursed.
like,
Really
Lasse is
is.
a PP mapper. What are you talking about?
And like to be fair to everyone, Zane was extremely overweighted. Like you
He
could
knew
go and
before he ranked it that it would end up being that way, but he didn't map it for that.
right,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
like
It's just a normal Lasse map, and he's like, well, if it is, it is. You know, I'm not gonna stop it. I'm not gonna not rank it just because the PP like algorithm is bugged, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
wait. And if nobody went and stopped him, right? Like if Peppy or Ephemeral or somebody on the PP committee or whatever wanted to go and place a hold on it until it got fixed, they can do that, but they didn't. Like I don't know why that's
Honestly,
Lasse's fault.
I remember it being a bit of the opposite because people that were aware of it were like, oh my god, yeah, there's going to be something else for players to farm. They're going to have to play an actually different map for once instead of just the same old jump map.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Honestly though, it's really easy. Like I remember being like, wow, I can actually like get a good score on this even though it's 6 stars.
It was
Yeah.
insanely free.
And I struggled a full combo of 5-star. Like and like the great thing about it was like the patterns just play so naturally. Like I was just like, wow, I feel so good at the game by playing this. Like it just feels so good. to aim it, and it just felt so natural. And I really like. Actually, I think the map is really good and fun. It just happens to be overweighted.
It just
It's
happened.
also like with Necrophantasia, which was also weighted pretty heavily back then. Which it's like sometimes the style you end up getting for the map because it just fits the song ends up being something that gives like a lot of PP. It's not like a map that is. It's like you said. It's not like a map that is overweighted. Was necessarily designed to be that way. The map
Right.
could have just been mapping the song, and it happened.
Like some maps definitely are. Like I remember what was it, like 2020 when like the PP apocalypse or whatever it was called happened, where like a bunch of PP mappers got vetoed or like got kicked from BN, and a bunch of maps got vetoed. I think because it was just very clear like abuse of the system. Like you had and I guess I shouldn't say any names, but yeah, people who are around kind of know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember being there for it.
I
It's
remember.
really funny too, because like originally at the time, I think like the person who really made an issue out of it was Kibleru, and it was like that's the most wholesome and kind of careless, I want to say, guys. Like he's often oblivious to what's going on in the mapping community, but even he was like, "Wait, we can't let this keep happening here. These maps are actually kind of too bad to go to rank." I think that was the veto for like the mapper fall. Don't remember
Right.
exactly what
Yeah,
map
it was Fall. I know what was one of the big ones. I think Fall was like the nail in the coffin. It was,
Yeah.
I want to say, one of the
Mm.
one OK Rock songs that was like I already had like 3 sets of it, and there's just like another one with another Sotark's diff of like the same name. It was like Sotark's blah blah blah, like reborn or whatever. It was like number 2, and it's like the exact same map. So like clear content below it, right? There was no difference in the maps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I also remember seeing something get vetoed over basically all the top diffs were the same, but with like objects slightly repositioned in each map.
That was I think you're thinking of Monstrata's
No, I think Sotark's was at least like involved. He was like a GD or something.
oh
There might have been just a dice. I'm not sure.
One of the Black Clover maps.
Yeah, definitely one of
Yeah.
the maps. Those are
Gotcha.
kind of
Oh no,
notorious
I mean
for
I was thinking Zen
receiving
Zen
vetoes.
Zensei, which had the Mitsuha and Taki diffs. It also has a Sotark's Insane on that set.
Ah.
He's everywhere.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
remember which set it was. Also about Just a Dice, I actually think that map is fine. Like the jumps at the end like make sense to me.
Oh yeah,
Like
the map itself right now is definitely fine as it is ranked.
Yeah.
At the time, it was not so much, and was also just like you had like I don't know 5-6 extras within the same SR range, and it just like it was kind of
Yeah.
stupid because you're basically duplicating PP at that point, and
Yeah,
kind
so
of
you can get like a bunch of PP off of one set.
yeah, and
That
then
it's
the
Well, it's like
matter was
you play the same map twice, and you get like you're playing the same map, but you're getting PP twice for the same
Yeah.
map. Is
Yeah.
kind of the problem.
You get like 300 and then another 300 or whatever.
Yeah.
I think
yeah,
I
and that way
remember
you can.
Sotarks actually got restricted for this set because
Oh yeah.
he tried to
Wait,
re-upload
really?
it as like extreme noise to get it force deleted. Like switching out the MP3 or something like that.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, he uploaded it as ear rape and was like, "What is he doing?"
That's so weird.
Yeah, I think he has like a policy of not having graveyard maps or something, and that is why he wanted to get it deleted.
Mm-hmm.
I
But
see.
obviously, you can't
Well,
just.
like once it goes to graveyard, you can delete it though. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It didn't make any sense.
That is really silly.
You could also just ask a moderator to remove it, can't you? Like they can
No,
just do
not
it.
just for any reason.
Oh,
Like it needs to be bugged or something.
Like
Gotcha.
bugged or duplicated kind of deal.
I see. But yeah, you could just wait for it to get to graveyard and just delete it right away. So damn.
Additional materials.
This is
additional
a veto
materials.
and a half.
Ooh, what is this?
This is from Yaspo.
Oh no, sure is. But yeah, you can see it's like how optimized it had become to just like land everything within the same range, so they could like you could farm it once and again, and eventually you're just exploiting players to get your popularity. And I thought that was very silly and very harmful,
Mm-hmm.
especially like with the fiery rage maps with the vertical X jumps, I guess.
Right.
It kind of got out of hand because like those jumps really don't do anything to test or engage the player. They're just there to be as easy as possible. It's like at some points, like when you're getting to 6-star range and stuff, I think you're supposed to make some kind of challenging map, no? At some point. But it's like these people are completely opposite to my mindset, and that's partly why I vetoed it, because that's subjective.
Yeah, but they're essentially trying to make 5-star maps that are seen as 6-star maps by the system, which I think going against trying to abuse the system is good because it's better for the like you've seen what kind of damage this sort of mapping has done to the community in that a lot of people just think in terms of PP now. They're not like, oh, what's the map like? It's like how much PP does it give? You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. And like
This album, oh
people
no.
want to be able to turn their brain off and just click circles without thinking about it. And they don't even care if it has like an MP3 attached to it half the time. Like if you see all these like aim practice maps, they don't even follow the song. They're just circles placed in like a circle around the playfield center, right? Like they don't use the playfield right, you know?
Yeah, and they're often like I see a lot of maps that even make it into love that are just straight up timed wrong. Like so
Exactly.
wrong I can just hear it while playing. And I need to offset like minus 19 and it's like what the fuck? I wish Loved had some level of quality control at least for shit like timing
I mean, I
because
think
it's like
the problem with Loved is sometimes you can't really get the mapper to update the map, so
Yeah.
it gets loved anyway.
So ever
I
since I was
see.
brought on board in 2017 for Loved has had pretty solid metadata standards for their artist and title, but that's about it because that's what's really easy to go in and like have an admin like do a hacks upload to fix it if the mapper isn't there.
Right. That makes sense. That's good.
Yeah, I think this album that you're showing is extremely cursed. Just like
It is.
This is
I
so
was
in
like,
depth.
I was
Oh, I
like,
remember
I
the
just,
gold. I remember this gold dust map. Yeah, gold dust, I should say.
it's
Yeah.
like I remember kind of being conspiracy theory over like the GDs actually being copies of the top diff and kind of just like almost programmatically adjusted to be different.
Mm-hmm.
Because like some of these patterns were nearly identical, and it's like starting to draw the line of like where is inspiration and where is just copying and reproducing. Because at the time, to me, that made a lot of sense. Because Sotarks and his mentees would put out a lot of maps. I was like, how are they doing it to begin with?
Because they make 2 patterns for
Yeah,
minutes.
that is a conclusion I eventually came to as well. Yeah.
I mean, it definitely helps
Speaking
to have a whole dedicated squad to make all your GDs because making a TV size map for a generic anime song does not take that long.
Yeah, he could just essentially
Sotarks does
pump
it
them
in
out.
literally an hour.
Yeah.
Like I've looked at his streams and he's done it in an hour. You know, like
yeah,
there's yeah.
I'd be done in an hour too if I was doing 2 patterns.
Like
I'm sure you
when
wouldn't.
frankly when you map the
True, I
same
take an hour to do 2
when you
patterns.
map like 500 of the same kind of like map for like more or less the same kinds of songs, it's like yeah, I can understand how it's done very quickly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As you can see here.
Speaking of stealing patterns, I remember there was a drama one time where someone had taken an exact copy of a Skystar slider from another map, and they put it in their own map, like as is. They just kind of copy pasted someone else's slider, and then there was a bit of an interesting discussion for a bit about like mapper copyright. Like, do you is it okay to basically copy paste another mapper's pattern into your own map? Which
I mean,
I think that's an interesting topic to think about.
it's interesting to think about, but then it's like, can you copyright a melody? And the answer is obviously, well, nearly no, because like one melody is too short to really have any.
You can actually. That's there was a
Like
court case
ringtones.
against Katy Perry for Dark Horse, saying that she essentially stole the melody from another song. I forgot what the other song's name was, and Katy Perry lost that lawsuit. She It was ruled that she had copied the melody, even though um, I think Adam Neely made a video where he, as a musician, explained in musical terms why they were markedly different. But I mean, the court doesn't care about a fucking Adam Neely YouTube video. So Katy Perry actually lost that. So if you can copyright a melody, technically, I mean, because you made the map, you kind of own the copyright to it, which is kind of funny to think about.
To be really technical within OSU, it's like you lose a copyright once it goes into ranked, right? Because
No,
you
no,
lose you don't have any rights then to edit the document anymore. It's like it's stuck there. It's permanent.
no, you do. It's just copyright doesn't necessarily give you the right to edit something on someone else's machine, right? And by uploading to us, you essentially give us permission to distribute your map, which is the issue that a lot of musicians have, where us is distributing their music without their permission, because they're not the ones to upload it to us, right? If Skrillex uploaded a Skrillex map, he couldn't really file a DMCA against that because he uploaded it.
That would be funny.
It would be really funny.
One from the past.
Oh my god.
Oh, time travel DMCA's. No.
All right, I found it. I found the celery thing.
Wow, I've been at it for the whole time. And
No, I just DM celery.
Oh my
oh,
god.
okay.
You DM celery and he just has this sauce.
Well, he didn't remember it either, so he had to find
This is
the.
blatant homophobia. I'm reporting you.
Well, okay, so you know that the BG name was Uberzolik ate my ass, not clickbait emotional .jpg.
Emotional. Oh no.
That is the best BG name.
Yeah. Oh my god, you're good.
Honestly, I
Celery
could see
is-
that getting DQ'd nowadays just because the file name is so fucking long.
That would be a really funny reason to DQ this. File name too long.
Well, the file name can be long, right? So.
When it gets
Can
to
it?
be like
Oh.
a full sentence, if your oath is really deep in your directory, sometimes it can just fucking break and you don't get your background.
If it's too long, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
so you
very
can only
much
have
so,
a
like,
certain limit to characters in a path. It can literally
Okay.
break
So-
on Windows.
If you guys want to
So
know what
funny,
celery
he doesn't-
changed the diff name to, it's
Oh, no.
Uberzolik committed war crimes and is being protected by the mainstream media.
That's even longer. No.
That's what it got ranked with.
That is insane. I love it.
And then the one
Oh.
I nominated, like Celery's most recent ranked map, Uberzolik is the father of my children, but he won't pay child support, so I'm suing him. Oh my god. I love these diff names.
This is
Or these map names or JPEGs.
you said it wrong twice. That's
I know, I'm an
amazing.
Dude, I'm an idiot sometimes, okay?
Diff
down.
names, map names, JPEG. Like
Don't worry about it. I didn't say I was smart.
Oh yeah,
Fantastic.
speaking of brilliant background things, so when you're referencing a file name in OS, apparently it's possible to like use a special character that indicates like you go up out of the map folder and you can reference another map folder on someone's computer. And I remember this because one time Nal Tamori tried to rank a map where it had no background file. It was just linking another map's background, and it's just like, so if you didn't have that map, you were just fucked.
That is
It was
That's
That's
fun.
really
Remember
interesting.
that, so yeah.
it was so big brain.
That is kind of crazy.
Did that get fixed?
Uh,
I don't know.
I don't know.
It might
I
still
hope
be
it
there.
did. I hope it's still like that.
That would. I mean, the map got fixed, but I don't know if the functionality that let that happen got fixed.
Right, right. Probably not, honestly. If I were, I mean, it's fixed in laser. That's what I would say.
Yeah,
So true.
everything.
I
The
remember
base
at
one
COE, I
was
was asking Pepe about all these features that I wanted in the editor, and he just answered yes to everything. And it took me like a couple minutes to realize he was just trying not to argue with me about features that should be in the editor. Because everything, I would be like, "Oh, can we have sliders with like adjustable speeds?" And it was like, "Hell yeah, I'm working on implementing that." This is like 4 years ago, so I don't think he's working on implementing that.
Yeah,
It would be
he
cool
doesn't
though.
actually like them if there's no visual cue for it, which is very understandable for me.
It makes sense, but I feel like couldn't you change the slider border's color towards the end to make it red, regardless of what, to make it like red or blue, depending on whether it's speeding up or slowing down, regardless of the color that the player is using for their sliders, and maybe make it like customizable so
I
it has.
mean, yeah, we can think of solutions, but it's like doesn't mean that will be implemented.
That is true. That is
That's like
definitely
the
true.
bane of going onto GitHub. It's like you come with a problem and maybe with a solution, and it's just like, okay, sounds good, and you're back there 5 years later, and it's still like it's not implemented.
Yeah, Pepe is just like, it's open source. Go do it yourself. He said that a lot. One thing he did implement, I think, was, or at least they want to add it. It's like that you can change the map settings mid-map, so you can have like an AR8 section and then an AR10 section, and you can like have each circle be a different size, which I think is fucking awesome.
I
Like
can't
if you
wait for
can
that to
have,
be a thing.
yeah, if you can have like variable circle size, like that would change mapping forever. Just that alone.
Hmm.
Like I know, like
It
Project
really
Sekai, I'm
would.
really big into that. They have it's just like typical VSRG. Notes scroll down, except there's no set lanes because it's a touch screen, and the notes can be whatever size they feel like. So they just all over the place. Super big bang sounds. Let's go with some big notes. Really teeny tiny light piano sounds. Let's make these really hard to tap teeny tiny notes. And it's just so fluid how they do it. I can't imagine that when it becomes a thing, that'll be really tough to work with because we'll be all like trying to figure it out at the same time, like what
Right.
works and what doesn't.
It'll be like 2010 all over again.
When we
It'll
added
be the
slider
best thing
velocity.
that has happened to this game since 2010.
Yeah, it would be a real content update, and I think the game really needs that as well.
Yeah, it would be the first, like, us would change for the first time in a long time. I think the last change that was even close to being this significant was 3-point sliders. Just because that changed how everybody mapped. Because you used to making like a round looking slider was like a chore. Like there were threads on how to make round sliders, like different approaches. And that's just, nobody cares about that anymore because you just do 3 points.
That was part of why blankets were such a big thing because you had a reference in the editor to line it up with.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's another thing I asked him for, and GN has been asking for this for so long, which is, and I think I saw a guy, just someone who, it might have been Ollie Bombi actually, so it wasn't just someone, who, it's like adjustable grid lines that you can snap notes to. Like you can make like a circle and snap notes to that circle that you can adjust the size of, or you can set like an axis to align notes with and like mirror notes around. Like instead of flipping horizontally along like the main axis, you can do it like diagonally, which I think is like, I've wanted that feature basically since I started mapping.
If we're on this train of like wanting features, what I really want is a real like co-op mapping, but like probably not the way of like because there's the web thing that Marvin's
OSCAD,
doing,
yeah.
OSCAD. That's really cool. But I'm thinking like, what if, or it's not even like co-op mapping. It's co-op playing, like real genuine co-op playing, where you could have it's kind of like tag, but like, instead of like alternating who plays, having both people play at the same time, and the mapper would just set it up so like one combo line is for one person, another combo is for another person, and you could have like maybe one person's playing the left side of the screen and the other person's playing the right side, or maybe one person is playing the vocal layer and the other person is playing the drum layer, and you could have it like sort of like a almost like you're in a band, right? You know, people
Almost
playing
like you're
different
playing
things.
Friday Night Funkin', right?
Os
Yeah.
band.
There's
I'm
some
down for it.
songs I have out there that I've wanted to map for years, but it's like impossible to map for OS specifically because there's literally two melody lines, two singers
Exactly.
going off on their own tangents.
And like that's exactly the kind of thing that like what if we could have a map where you have two different maps for the same song that are following different things. So it's like you're playing one part of the song, I'm playing another part, and like they are cohesive, but you're playing the same song, right?
Dude, that would make Os tag so sick.
Right. Like I honestly I feel like OS tag is just like really kind of boring because like you're just taking turns playing like and like
Yeah.
tag you're just like playing like one or
You're
two
basically playing
objects.
less. And it's also like confusing because you kind of lose rhythm because of
Exactly.
tag. So this would basically fix all the problems with tag and make it like really cool actually. Though the downside is you would need maps specifically for that, and I can
Yes.
imagine
Yep.
a lot of people wouldn't want to make two maps for one.
But like, what if you had one person make a map and another person takes that map and just does a collab on it, but of the same song, of the
Those
same
mapping
difficulty?
duets?
Like exactly,
Oh.
mapping duets, right?
Mapping
Like,
duets
I
sounds
literally,
sick. I love that.
I literally went and made a GitHub post about it, and he's like, "Yeah," and I made a GitHub suggestion about it, and Peppy responded to it and said, "Yeah, people have been asking about this for like a decade. It's not a priority." Like, god damn it!
Wow, you remembered it at least? That's crazy.
Like, it's like, god dang it! People have been asking about it for a decade. Why hasn't it been added yet?
There was like metadata
That is such
in
a
one
peppy
file.
line to say. People have been asking about this forever. I'm not doing it.
He didn't say he's not doing it. He just said it's not a priority. And, you know, I
That's
think
basic. When he
he'll
says
add it
it's
at
not,
some point, but
when it's a priority,
Yeah.
it gets done within the next 6 months. So if he
Yeah.
says it's not a priority, good fucking luck.
which
Good
to be
luck.
fair, like his priority is like finalizing Laser and getting it out the door. But I honestly don't see it happening anytime soon, even after Laser's like completely ready.
If I had
Laser is
time,
PP. You can set scores
Yeah.
right now.
It's crazy.
It's basically
yeah, I
Mhm.
love it. I haven't been able to play PP Laser because I was in Brazil, which makes me sad.
So the
but
main thing
now I'm
about Laser
finally-
now is like, mapping on it, but that's a whole other
Yeah.
can of worms for another day, I think.
The other one is no slider leniency. Yikes. Completely ruins so many maps.
It does have something that was a huge buff to Nixa maps, which is that you can now, if a slider is shorter than the hit window, you can effectively hit the slider in the past. As long as you're within the hit window, it will register as a perfect hit. Which in the past it didn't. If
So
the
it's-
slider, it essentially shortened the OD for like one note, which is quite annoying, and that sucked for me because I like to do a lot of like little sliders that are like 1/8 and then mute the ends for
Mhm.
certain specific sounds. So I'm really excited about that, and it kind of makes me sad that a lot of people don't like Laser for the leniency thing. I'm not bothered by it though. I haven't really. I kind of like that you have to act sliders. It kind of changes the whole game, which I think is
It
cool.
changes the whole game, and like you can like say it's good or bad. It doesn't really matter. I think what more of the issue is, more of the controversy, is that so many maps were specifically designed over the ability to abuse slider leniency, and like patterns were created because people knew that sliders were going to be abused, and now that sliders can't be abused in the same way, maps just completely change how they feel and are played.
Yeah, I think I kind of want to say skill issue to that, but not entirely, because like it's true. But I've played a lot of Laser like since long before it had PP, just because I like the ability to customize your DT speed up. And honestly, even on maps that were designed for that, you can just learn the rhythm, and eventually it just feels natural. So it's just a new thing that people would have to get used to. But this community especially really hates changes. A lot of people just go back to stable just because it's stable and it's what they're used to. They're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I don't like the UI. I'm leaving."
I did
Which
see a Reddit thread where like some guy was like, "I'm new to the game. Which do I download?" Because both when you go to the download page, both laser and stable show up. And he's like, "Which one do I download?" And people on Reddit were saying just go to laser because it's like basically finished. And if you're just starting out, you might as well start in laser.
Mm-hmm.
that's good. I like laser. I just wish I could map in it. Well, I can, but
Without
I
the
want the
pain.
editor to be finished. Yeah, I don't want to get excited for like a half thing. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, relearning a new workflow sounds like a pain in the ass. Not being able to like right click to delete things is like, oh my god. My muscle memory.
You right click.
You
I
right
said
click and it pulls down a
A
like a
context menu,
context,
yeah.
a context menu in laser.
okay. I use delete already to delete things,
Oh,
so I probably
okay.
won't notice that as much.
It's just so much faster to just like right click things that you want to delete. But
Right.
if you
So, is there anything else we were going to talk about today? Since we've been going for a while, so
Oops.
we should probably still do like one topic and then call it.
Well, I think we kind of covered what we were going to talk about. Does anyone have any more things to add about vetoes or anything else that they want to talk about in particular?
I think some of the most recent vetoes don't feel as interesting because they're too new.
Maybe, yeah.
I will say that. I think that in another 5 years, you'll look back at some of the more recent ones and you'll be like, that was hilarious. What were we thinking?
Yeah, right now it's just like a bunch of drama. It's never exciting,
Mm-hmm.
especially as an AT, because like you're so used to the drama that instead of grabbing your popcorn, you grab your
Well, as
sweatshirts
NAT,
and
you're
get
the
to work.
target of it half the time.
Yeah, kind of, and you're just like you. There's some other responsibility to get involved. At least I hope for most NAT. So it's like you read everything and you interpret everything and you go like, this guy is stupid and this guy is kind of right. Maybe we should change that. And it's just like it's more overhead than
And then you have to evaluate them like on their eval, and then if they get punished, they'd be like, "Why didn't you punish them at the time it happened?" It's like because it wasn't their eval yet.
yeah.
Yeah,
Then there's the other begin, and then it's like, why didn't this guy get punished? Well, this situation is different. It's like,
Well, his
no,
situation is that it was his only one, and the other BN had a history of it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's like there's very little nuance in how everyone else sees it.
Yeah.
I never
So that
like the argument where they're like, "Well, but you did it this way before, so why are you doing it this way now?"
the word
I always
precedent, I
see
hate
that, and my
precedent.
first thought is like, "It's called learning, you idiots!" Like you do a thing, and then you're like, "Hey, this maybe wasn't the best idea," and then you do another thing. I don't get why that's such a hard Why does everything? Imagine if we still did things the way we did them in 2010. Because like, well, you ranked that one Peppy map in 2007, and it's like, well, yeah, it sucks. That's why we don't rank maps like that anymore. You know what I mean?
He's
Mm-hmm.
advocating for
Why did we even create all these
improvement.
timing rules and stuff like and metadata? Why are Hatsune Miku songs not tagged with Hatsune Miku like as the artist?
Crazy.
Come on,
That is so true.
absolutely insane.
Right. In the beginning, in the early days of OS, you had no timeline. You just placed notes. Like you just felt it out. You just gauge like this should be about right.
You know, there's still a legacy feature in the game because of this. If you hold shift and drag your node on the timeline, you can just unsnap it freely.
That's so sick. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
that's true. Yeah, you
it's
can
great.
do
It's a
that.
shortcut to make your map unrankable.
I mean, you just put a red light on it, right?
I have the weirdest problem in a map in terms of snapping because it's like it's a map where I would need 132 snapping to snap slider ends properly, but I can't do that. So I had to double the BPM and do 116. And to this day, I don't know if that's fine. I guess I'll find out. when
Close
I finish it. But
You just half it back at the end.
yeah,
So
yeah, I
proper
do that.
BPM.
I set it back to the proper BPM once I don't need that anymore. So I figured that should be fine because it's literally like there's not the option to snap to that point in the game.
Yeah, and we explicitly wrote that to be allowed at one point, like 1517. Yeah, this can be unsnapped as long as it's snapped to 1517, because they weren't
Yeah.
supported in the game yet, and that's still the case for like 19.
Yeah, I don't know why he added 15 and 17 and then it was like, nah, fuck 19. We can skip that one.
Don't know.
Is that in the game now?
Yeah.
Yep.
19?
Yeah.
15 and
Pretty sure it's in the
17.
game now.
15 and 17 I knew about, yeah.
I remember when he
Yeah.
added it, I had to go find the feedback page for the OS stable editor, and I was like, you didn't add the matching shortcuts for these.
True. Those shortcuts are my savior.
Right.
Oh, by the way, the mapping duets thing, I tried a couple times to like, jankily make it work, and you just have autofail and like note lock, and like half the time it doesn't register your clicks. It's like so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's
2B
not possible
is
yet.
not very well implemented. Well, not
Like I tried to like I tried to. So what was weird about it, right? Is you have because we did it with tag, right? Because you only get two people play the same map at the same time. And I actually tried. I tried the 2B, and then I tried offsetting it by like a millisecond or two, right? So that it's not technically 2B because there's actually technically a gap between them, and it would actually register another player's click for your click.
What the
Like,
fuck?
yeah, no
Oh,
joke.
because it was
If
when they had control and it's inside of their OD window.
yeah, I don't know what it is, but like literally, you'd be like playing your side of the map, and you'd click your object, and it would count for the other person's click, and so now they note lock.
That's
It's like, what the fuck?
sucks.
So bizarre. Or like or the other person would be playing a slider, and you would click, and it would unselect their slider hold so that they would
What?
miss. It was like, how is this even making any sense?
You know, this means you should implement it in Laser yourself.
Yeah.
If I could code, maybe, but
Just
I
learn
wish I
some
had
code.
time. That sounds like such a cool idea. But if I were to do anything in Laser, it would be Tohos. Because I have wanted that forever. I don't know why rhythm game bullet hells are not a thing. Like, it's such a perfect combo.
There's one on Steam, but it's not very good.
like laser,
Yeah,
I think laser is flexible enough to do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it. I've just been lazy. Like, not
I
even
did-
lazy. I just don't have time. I'm already playing like a one-man band with all the shit I'm trying to do. With like between like drawing and programming and everything, like music. So it's like I just can't. But if I could, oh my god, I would love to.
It would be pretty cool. All the things that I wish I could do, but don't have the time to learn or even really the motivation. Because, like, I could spend all this time learning this, but, like, it'd be so much easier for just somebody else to come along and do it in, like, a day.
Right?
This is such a modern problem where in the past I'm pretty sure in the past you could be like two things. It was like you go work here or you go work there. And now it's like there's so much information available. You have all this choice. You're just like, well, I could do this, but I could also do that, right? I could become an engineer, but I could also play video games, right?
Yep.
I just feel really lucky I found a job that fulfills both my need to make funny little graphic doodles and video edits and stare at spreadsheets and work on them faster than anyone would expect me to. It's a very specific overlap that I'm surprised I found anywhere.
How do you find that overlap? Like those two.
Digital marketing
what do you do?
specialist. So, they expect me to handle all the data and all the social media. And I'm like, okay, I got this. I'm going. I'll do jack of all trades, master of none for you.
That's sick. That is a sick job.
And then it gives you so much free time because, like, they expect you to take, like, a week, and then you do it in, like, a day, and then you have, like, an extra, like, 5 days to, like, do whatever you want.
Oh yeah, every time. I've actually, I had a minor in Japanese from university, but I still couldn't read for shit because it was mostly focused on grammar and practicing speech and stuff. And I was just really bad at reading. and I'm actually able to like just sit there and practice on my computer, so I'm living the life.
That's awesome.
I am jealous.
You're a pilot. Shut up.
Bruh.
You got the coolest one.
Yeah, you have the coolest job of like anyone I
It's not
know.
even a job. I'm just a student. I'm paying so much money to learn it.
Okay, but like you're gonna get paid so much money in return.
And hopefully, yeah.
And see so many
Yeah,
things.
unless you get to like fly around and not let people die in airplanes, which I'm very grateful for. Every time I fly, I'm just like I see people around me and they go like, "Oh, thank God the plane didn't crash." Well, they don't say it like that, but they like pray or something. And I just want to thank the pilot, man. Every time I'm in the air,
You're just like, thank God that being a pilot is not a job for the general public.
yeah, dude. Imagine if I had to fly my own plane, I would have crashed like 20 times by now.
It's definitely you learn it. You definitely learn it.
But don't worry, White. I'm sure there's a way you can do both. My history teacher in my junior year, he was a licensed pilot for like small airplanes.
Hmm.
It was very easy to get him off track of teaching our class, and he would just tell us stories about learning to fly his planes. So if you could, if he could be a teacher and a pilot at the same time, you could do everything. I don't know.
Yeah.
I believe in it, White. You can do both. You can teach people on the airplane. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Today we will be going over chapter 3 of what? What would you teach?
Chapter 3 of the
I guess
Electos modding guide.
Oh boy. Oh man, I definitely don't have a good enough track record as a VN to do that modding mentoring. Goodness.
I wish I still had the drive to like write about mapping. I used to do that all the time, but then I would send it to like smelly people like Kreutz instead of like posting it somewhere.
Make a blog.
So true. Mapping blogs used to be a thing. I read Shiro's mapping blog. It
They
was
were
amazing.
so cool.
It
Now-
talked about like flow and why it's a bad term. And then I was like, what the fuck is flow?
And then the QAT had their own blog on Tumblr and the news site. That was the best.
I did not know about this. This is new lore.
Oh yeah, it was originally like on Tumblr, and then it got like transposed to the website as news. I don't remember any of the other articles. The one that stuck with me the most is Oko's article about how weird spread expectations are, which is still really true today, actually.
Oko definitely be like people be like modding Oko's set like this spread is wrong, and Oko be like, sir, you don't know what you're talking about.
Because he wrote this
Yeah.
in like 2016, and he was writing about how weird it is that like normals are just baby DS, and then hard you have 1-4 and you have some baby jumps, and then you just completely do away with distance snapping altogether. And he's like, that's weird. Among other
It is
things.
weird. I don't think distance snap should be a thing anymore. Like, I think we should just get rid of it. Like, it should be in the game, but we shouldn't care if someone uses it, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I
You
think
can
we
look
kind
at
of
a map
moved
and be
on
like,
from it. 'Cause
yeah,
it's like all
this is
about,
like easy spacing. This is not easy spacing. It's not hard to tell.
yeah, it's all
Well,
about like
it's-
the time distance like equality. Like, is it the same gap? It should be spaced the same way instead of literally DS.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not strict DS anymore. But it's like kind of generally like DS principles stay the same. Like it should be
Mhm.
generally DS, but doesn't have to be exact.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can definitely have, especially hard diffs. Hard diffs have become a lot more lenient over the last like 3 years, I would say. Like you can do pretty much insane diffs and hard diffs now, with how lenient it's gotten.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I think, to me, I wish that from insane up, spread just didn't matter anymore. I wish you could have like an insane followed by a 9-star.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, because it's like, I think it doesn't matter, right? Why do you need to, how do I put this? It's like, someone who can't play a 9-star won't be able to play it, so they can just skip over that set, right? Not everyone has to play every map. That's how I feel anyway.
Yeah, I could see that. And also, like, most sets, the insane is the most played diff, followed by
Right.
or
Right.
preceded by the top diff, and then the ones in between are somewhat ignored in comparison. Like, yes, people will play them, especially if they offer good PP, but the general public, they're going for the insanes.
Insane, the hard, the normal, and the top diff are generally the most popular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's like
and I do think that like normal diffs, hard diffs, and insane diffs are still important for like new player acquisition. Um, but they also probably don't need to exist for every set the same way that they used to. Um, I saw a proposal for like changing the spread rules, and like maybe that could be something like you just take the drain time and then you like place it kind of within a box of like category, and like if it's like a minute and a half song like a TV size, you have to have 4 diffs, right? And you just divide that, you just like spread it out equally. If you
Mania
have
has
like a seven
something like
star, you
that.
5, 3, 1 star, kind of thing.
Yeah, Mania has something like that going on where it's based off of like you have to have this many diffs counting down from the top diff rather than you have to start at normal and go up kind of thing, which is
Hmm.
the other way around. It's been working well for them though, from what I've seen.
I think OSMappers would be upset if they saw like a 2 minute set that started at like 9 stars and finished at 6.
Well,
Yeah.
like I think the idea would be like it has to get to a certain point, right? Like if it's a 9 star, you could have like then it could be like a 6 star and then like a 3 star and then like a 1 star or something like that. Like evenly kind of roughly evenly spread out. It doesn't to be exact, of course, but
Oh, so
you know,
you're saying you divide like the top diff by 4 and you just whatever it takes to evenly get there. That's the
right.
spread.
Kind of,
That's
yeah,
kind of
exactly.
cool. That's cool because then you get something like a hard set, which is what you had in like Guitar Hero. Like Guitar Hero, you have at the very start, you have Slow Ride, which is basically the easiest song in the game, and then at the very end, you have Through the Fire and Flames by Dragon Force, which is the hardest. And Through the Fire and Flames Easy is harder than Slow Ride Medium, just because the song is more complex. So the entire set is harder. Whereas in OS terms, the two easies would have to be alike, which is kind of interesting to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think like the big thing is like there needs to be a spread so that like if I'm a new player, I can play the song and then like I can play the same song at a higher difficulty as I get better as a player. And as like I want the song, the maps to grow with me. Like I don't want to be able to only play a normal diff of this song. Like what if I like that song? What if I want to be able to play it and I'm much more developed and now normals are too easy? Like they're not even engaging anymore. Um,
Right.
so like there's still I think needs to be spreads, but I don't think we need like a normal hard insane extra 2 extra 3 for every set.
Hmm. I agree.
Could definitely
And I
see
think it would also like if we got rid of spread, it would make TV size stuff way too easy to rank for both BNs and for mappers, and it would just completely upset like any kind of uh, you know making sense. You don't want to make it really easy to make a TV size and like comparably really really difficult to map a marathon, right? Or to rank it.
Yeah, even though I feel like that's the way it is right now, like
I
ranking
actually think
something short
it's somewhat
feels.
easier to rank a marathon to some degree. It's at least much more even because if you're doing a TV size, one, you can get GDs, which then you have to deal with like actually interacting with people and getting GDs that are like of a good enough quality, and you have to wait for them, and half the time they don't even do it. Like Okaratu complains about having GDs all the time because like he'll ask for a GD and then like a year later they'll be like, sorry, I can't do it. It's like okay. Um,
Right.
so like you have to deal with GDs or you have to do it yourself, in which case you're mapping probably more drain time than if you had just done like a 5 star marathon or a 5 minute marathon, right?
mm-hmm.
And then for a BN, like a 5 minute marathon is somewhat easier in some cases to mod than it is to mod a set, right? Where you have to deal with spread rules and all sorts of other things.
Right.
Um, so I actually, I don't really, as like a BN, it didn't matter to me if it was a marathon or like a TV size, like five diff spread, right? Like roughly the same in terms of modding difficulty. And I think it's more or less roughly the same in terms of like actually getting it to a rankable state as a mapper. Um,
I will say I do appreciate that we no longer have to have full sets of 4-minute 59 songs. If you know, I think it's Jonathan's Far East Nightbird remix, which is 4-minute 59, and it requires a full set, and he made a full set with RLC. It's actually insane. It's essentially like 20 minutes of
what
mapping.
mapper is insane about making spreads so that they don't need to make celery. Celery will make a 7-star, like a 7-map spread of like a 5-minute map, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
That
That's so impressive.
that's
I
crazy.
have my Ringo the Apple Sales Girl map, and that's like 6 minutes. And I made the hard, I made the insane, I made half of the normal. I collabed with Agatsu. I got a GD for the easy. I'm still so proud of it because I made so much map for that map. Like, holy shit.
Yeah,
Like
that is a
Celery
lot.
made a 7-minute map, made a 5.7 star extra, a 5.3 star insane / extra, a hard diff, a normal, and an easy for a 7-minute fucking song.
Yeah,
It's like insane.
That's when you really
That's-
like the song.
that's why you have too much fucking free time. Like, how do you find the time to map 7 minutes 50 million times in a row? I couldn't do it.
Yep. Yep. Kurois is like, yep, I will hype celery all day. Anyway, we definitely have run a bit long on this. It's been a good time chatting, but we definitely need to wrap this up. So I just want to say thanks for everyone to watching, or thanks everyone for watching. Words are hard today. Of course, thanks to Yaspo for joining us and chatting.
No problem.
Of course, as mentioned on the Twitter announcement, these are going to be roughly every month. There's not a specific time or date for that. It's kind of just when we can get everyone to group up for them. But we're aiming for every month, so definitely keep an eye out in the Discord and on Twitter for an announcement for that. You can join the community, of course, if you're not already a part of it. The Discord is linked, and if you want to participate in any events that are going on or be a part of that. Of course, we have the Vocaloid mapping competition that you should enter if you have not already. And if you have any feedback for how we can improve the show, definitely be sure to send it to me. You can DM me or Nafi or Nixa and let us know what you thought of it and how we can improve, ideas you have. We're hoping to make this a thing that we can go and run with for quite a while. So definitely looking to improve.
Yaspo is based.
Very based. And
Please.
Very based. So based.
But
We wanted
based
to make
on what?
Yaspo. Next time you come on, we got to get you a nice Yaspin GIF for your profile picture.
So true. I'll make it happen.
that would be
Alright.
so distracting.
Yaspo quit the NAT because he was dizzy from all that fucking
Like the
spinning.
nice thing about like my GIF that only lights up when I'm talking is that like it's fairly subtle. Yaspin would just be very obnoxious,
It
but I
looks
think
like-
that would be funny.
All the time.
Honestly, White, yours looks like your mouth is moving because you're talking. I'll say that. But
Yeah, it does look like that.
But it's awesome. It fits really well, honestly.
yeah, that being said, absolutely thanks everybody for coming out today and hanging out with us.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. And I hope that I figure out how to finish the sentence because I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh,
Yeah, dang it.
Thanks, y'all.
thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Alright.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.